Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, Bitdefender. Bitdefender is a global leader in cyber security. Bitdefender is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with Bitdefender, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on Bitdefender, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, Bitdefender, for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much.
welcome to Forever Motorsports here. You're joined by myself, Mark, and by Reece, of course. We've just finished pre-practice 1, and the story of the day is the same as usual as we find for the season. Max Verstappen finishes practice 1 in first with a 1:35.9, the only 1:35 of the session. Charles Leclerc and Hamilton finished in second and third.
Yes, it looks like we do have some competition, though, for that first position out there this race weekend. Those other two drivers being a little bit off the pace of Max Verstappen, but not necessarily miles away, as Charles Leclerc, before the end of the session, did set a purple first sector, so there is some hope for the qualifying session later this evening. Do be sure to join us for that. But making our way down the rest of the grid, of course, Max Verstappen in P1, Charles Leclerc P2, Lewis Hamilton in third, Sergio Perez in fourth, a little bit of touch with his teammates. Then we have Magnussen P5, George Russell P6, Alex Albon P7, Carlos Sainz P8. Not too bad for him. A little bit off the pace of his teammates, but I don't think he got the cleanest run on those soft tyres at the end. Then we make our way through to P9, Nico Hülkenberg. They brought some major upgrades for this weekend, which is why he's down in P9 and his teammates all the way up into P5. Then finishing up the top 10 is Pierre Gasly. Mark, take us through the bottom.
Yes, and then we go through our bottom and 10, of course, which I want to talk about because there's some interesting things there. Sargent is in 11th. Not too bad from him. Ocon in 12th, Tsunoda 13th, and Ricciardo in 14th. Of course, Ricciardo returning for the first time since his injury this weekend. He's just behind his teammate, literally 0.05 seconds behind him. Norris is down at 15th because they did not do any qualifying simulations in this session. Neither did his teammate Piastri and Alonso, of course. So going through, 15th is Norris, 16th Zhou, 17th Bottas, 18th is Alonso, and 19th Piastri, and of course Stroll, who had a big brake failure in the first 15 minutes of the session, and they're still working on the car as it is.
Certainly hoping that they're going to be able to sort that issue out. Hopefully that doesn't also go across to the sister Aston Martin car of Fernando Alonso. We don't want to see him having any issues. Just watching, though, some replays, this is going to be a big issue during this race and during the qualifying session ahead of us.
During qualifying, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of traffic, and we've seen Yuki Tsunoda's lap time being destroyed by it. Could we see that, as I alluded to, becoming a major issue during qualifying and the sprint shootout tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know. And also just seeing an unsafe release already in this session as well from Pierre Gasly.
I think they've got a double pit lane here, so it's a bit wider.
And what I was going to say is I think we're going to see lots of different things happening in this race weekend. Especially, we saw lots of track limits being a problem. People going very wide in the second to last corner especially, and I think that's where it's going to be caught out a lot of the time. And also coming out of turn 1. And I think we're going to see lots of problems, as you say, with traffic, with people infringing on laps because it's quite narrow at some points and people get in the way. It's lots of corners, and of course corners are quite difficult to get out of the way of people because racing lines become very much across the whole corner there sometimes. So I think we're going to have lots of issues come qualifying later, and it's going to be interesting to see how drivers fend off for that.
Yes, it's certainly going to be very interesting to see how they manage that. I'm sure we're going to see the normal of Max Verstappen getting out on the first lap to try and, or in the first minute to try and set a quali attempt. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens a little bit later in the evening. For those of you waiting on qualifying, it will be getting underway at 11 p.m. South Africa time, but that is in about 2 hours and 24 minutes. Yes, is how long we have to get going for that qualifying session later this evening. Do be sure to join us for that. We're really excited for that to get underway.
Indeed. So we're going to see what happens there in that race. But nonetheless, guys, you've been joining us on Forever Motorsports. That was the free practice 1 review here in the US Grand Prix in Dallas, Texas, of course, the circuit of the Americas. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again in the next stream. And of course, on all our videos in the channel itself. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. Cheerio.
Fine for crossing the track during the race. And the driver was very apologetic and realized that the situation could have been very dangerous for him, as well as the drivers approaching. The stewards reinforced the fact that crossing a live track can cause extremely dangerous situations, and the drivers have to be cautious about it. In addition to imposing a significant fine, which was suspended in parts, the stewards also reprimanded the driver, bearing in mind that receiving a certain penalty of reprimands during a season will draw a significant driving penalty in accordance with Article 18.2 of the FIA Formula 1 sporting regulations. This move from the FIA follows an incident at the Karting World Championship in Italy last weekend, where Britain's Joe Turney suffered leg injuries after pushing his kart back on track after being struck by a rival. In 1977, British Formula 1 driver Tom Price died during the South African Grand Prix at Kyalami after his car struck and killed an unsighted fire marshal who was crossing the track without permission. This is why the FIA are investigating these incidents from the drivers making their way onto the track. They want to set a precedent for the lower formulas, especially the karting juniors who see what the Formula 1 drivers are doing and really do try and replicate that. And unfortunately, they are going to try and set a bit of a precedent with Lewis Hamilton, of course, being in the top most sporting category of Formula 1. There's a lot of people that do look up to him. It's disappointing because I thought this was concluded, finished and done, but unfortunately it does look like they are going to be continuing to investigate Lewis Hamilton for that. Just asking you guys, at the moment we have a poll running. Who are you supporting for this weekend's US Grand Prix? 50% going to Max Verstappen at the moment, and 50% going to other. Do be sure to let me know who you are voting for down in the comment section if you are voting for that other option there. Looking towards this US Grand Prix though this weekend, Haas have planned a Red Bull style upgrade that will be its biggest upgrade of the season. Haas will switch to a Red Bull style car concept before the end of 2023, with what is set to be Formula 1's biggest ever season upgrade. The Ferrari customer team has preserved with the car design that features the Ferrari customer team has persevered with a car design that features wide sidepod inlets and high-walled edges, and a sidepod surface that drops down in the middle to create a channel that turns to the rear of their car. It will finally abandon this, though, by moving to what has become much more conventional throughout the paddock, with it being a more Red Bull style, which on the Red Bull is twinned with a very small side of the sidepod and a dramatic undercut. Haas have realised 1 month or so before the summer break that its design concept had hit a performance ceiling, whereas others like McLaren had made significant changes and made big gains instantly. This has prompted Haas to abandon plans to bring regular upgrades to the initial VF23 concept and make a fundamental design change before the end of the year. Expected for this upcoming United States Grand Prix at Austin, in which the team boss Günther Steiner has said would be the biggest change Haas has ever made in a season. The concept of the car will change, go in that downwash direction, Steiner said in the Singapore Grand Prix. You're limited though with your chassis and a few other things as well, but we are trying to do that downwash concept as well, like everybody else has got. He added, we know the direction for next year. We weren't sure. Should we do it this year or not? And then next year we go full on that route. We had to say, let's do something this year, so at least we learn as much as possible for next year on that concept and maybe learn something for which we can integrate into next year's car as well. Asked by the race on how much instant progress Haas have expected from the upgrade and how much its introduction would be unlocking for more potential, Günther Steiner said that the team's biggest problem with this existing concept was that it couldn't find any performance anymore. We developed the whole year, and there was nothing more that we could do, he said. And at some stage, you need to decide whether we need to do something different here. We cannot keep on banging our head against the wall, crying, and obviously, the other ones. You look at the other cars and just see that they keep on finding performance. McLaren seem to change the system. They seem to find something else, and at some stage you need to say, we need to change our concept too. We need to face reality. Driver Nico Hülkenberg has performed qualifying heroics in the 2023 Haas car this season, but almost invariably slumped in the races as underlying issues with following other cars and managing the rear tyres have rendered the VF23 uncompetitive on Sunday's race. He recently stated that Haas needs some magic to overhaul the Williams in the fight for 7th in the championship. And while he was wary of predicting this update can achieve that though, Hulkenberg had said an early Christmas present and that something significant had clearly become necessary. "We've explored this car pretty much in every possible direction now," said Hulkenberg, "and the performance isn't there enough, so it's time to change concept and philosophy." We're also the last team with that kind of philosophy still, and it's clearly gotten overtaken this year. As this year we went on by other teams with other concepts. I guess that says something. He added though, it started to look like a little bit more of a dead end a few months ago because there wasn't enough coming out of it anymore. The changes coming for Austin though will be a precursor to a bigger redevelopment over the car. Over the winter season when Haas can make bigger revisions to the car's architecture, including building a new chassis and revising the suspension. "We've got out whatever we could with the downwash option for now," said Steiner of the interim concept. "We cannot push it any further for this year." Haas takes all the key mechanical components from Formula 1's regulations, allowing from Ferrari's inclusion in a suspension and gearbox, but must conduct all the aerodynamic work itself. Steiner has said though that Haas also make its own important architectural choices, like the radiator placement that required its Ferrari-esque side put design. "We cannot change them now, just haven't got the time to change the radiators and those other bits. Your chassis you can change. You can do everything, but it wouldn't work out," said Steiner. "I don't think it's down to Ferrari. Yes, their electronic boxes are there as well, but I wouldn't blame Ferrari for that one. Some of the stuff we need to choose to them. Well, some of the stuff we need to go close to them, but like that side impact structure, we could have put it somewhere else if we wanted. But it would be very similar because the concept that we are running now asked for that side impact structure to be where it is. So that's why it is where it is." Very interesting to see that Haas are going to be changing their concept come this Austin Grand Prix. Whether their upgrades will be allowing them to get a little bit higher up in the standings, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be very interesting to see if they are going to be able to make those instant changes like the McLarens were able to see early on in the season and have that instant success. And I think it would be quite exciting if we do get another car battling it out in the midfield. As we do move on to our next article, speaking about Max Verstappen, who blames Formula 1 for ruining the title celebrations. Orville Gillespie giving his predictions or his support for this weekend's US Grand Prix, saying that he is voting for Piastri because he is a biased Australian. No need to be biased at all. I'm also really excited to see what Oscar Piastri can do this next race weekend. Moving on to this article, speaking about Max Verstappen, who joked that the Formula 1 chiefs are to blame for his bizarrely timed title celebrations during the Qatar Grand Prix sprint weekend. The world champion secured his third consecutive driver standing success last time out, with his dominance confirmed after a sensational record-breaking year. However, due to a quirk in the scheduling of the event, Verstappen confirmed his title on the Saturday after finishing second in the sprint race behind Oscar Piastri. As a result, the 26-year-old was effectively forced to split his party in two, with the race itself coming less than 24 hours after Verstappen clinched his glory. He went on to say, "I blame F1 for that, for introducing the sprint weekends," he quipped. "These kind of things aren't in your control. I always try to score as many points as possible, and that made it possible to win on the Saturday. It's okay." Verstappen is among, though, the small group that have sealed a hat-trick of titles in a row, joining names such as Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton. "I never thought these kinds of things were possible," he admitted. "I remember watching Formula 1, and you want to be on that podium and try to win races, so to be here with 3 titles is quite crazy to think about. You never think these kinds of things are possible, so put your name in between those names, but I am incredibly proud." On the radio, on the in-lap, you talk a lot about performance, and thank a lot of people for their performance and what they contribute to the car and the success of the team. But we don't really talk about just the enjoyment of working with people. Every weekend, you get to go out onto track, and there are so many brilliant minds, but also just nice people to work with, so it is a lot of fun as well. Glad to hear that Max Verstappen has enjoyed his run of title success for the past 3 years in Formula 1, as well as he's enjoying working with the people in Red Bull. And you have to think, as long as he enjoys working with the people in Red Bull and enjoys his time in Formula 1, he could still be here for a long time yet to come, as we've seen with Lewis Hamilton's success in Formula One. He's been here for multiple years. He's chasing that elusive 8th title to break all of the records from Michael Schumacher. We'll have to wait and see whether he'll be able to challenge for that title next year with Mercedes, hoping that they can get their car a little bit more competitive next year. But for Max Verstappen, once again, really happy to take that 3rd consecutive championship. Moving on, though, to our next article, speaking about the 2 Formula One teams that are set to change their names for 2024. Both AlphaTauri and Aston Martin are set to undergo name changes ahead of the 2024 season, with one switch expected to be more dramatic than the other. In Formula One, the ever-present influence of money and branding initiatives often leads to the shifts in the identities of racing teams, some more frequent than others. One such outfit, currently AlphaTauri, has undergone several name changes over the years. It was originally named as Minardi and then went on to be called, I have lost this. It originally started out as Minardi and competed in the World Championship for 2 decades under that name, before being acquired by Red Bull. It was subsequently rebranded as Toro Rosso, serving as Red Bull's sister team and the platform for nurturing young drivers and talent from the Red Bull Driver Academy. Since 2020, the team has raced with the AlphaTauri brand, a clothing company under the Red Bull umbrella. However, this arrangement is set to conclude at the end of the current season. The team CEO, Peter Bayer, has confirmed that their forthcoming entry has been determined, but their specific name now remains undisclosed for the time being. Discussions are going very well. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose our new identity as of yet, he said. The shareholders have decided on the identity for the team. We will move a bit closer to the Red Bull family. It is an exciting period to see the birth of a Formula One team. It is a unique experience, and I'm very happy to live through that. A return to Toro Rosso was dismissed as an option. Instead, the team have been in discussions with prominent household name brands for a potentially lucrative agreement. While Hugo Boss has emerged as a strong contender, recent reports have also suggested that Adidas are the second runner-up as a potential title sponsor for now. So we could see the team being moved to either a Adidas name or a Hugo Boss name for their new title sponsor of the Red Bull sister team. However, AlphaTauri are not the only team undergoing a name change currently. The Aston Martin Aramco Cognizant Formula One team, a bit of a mouthful, is also undergoing a subtle alteration to its identity. Although the prominent car maker will continue the primary brand association with the team, IT firm Cognizant has inked a new deal with the team but will no longer serve as a title sponsor. Cognizant was our inaugural title sponsor, they said. They partnered with Aston Martin to enhance their reputation of their brand. The complete team name for the next season is set to be revealed in early 2024. And we do expect it to take on possibly a bit more of the Aramco title sponsorship for the next season. So it could be Aston Martin Aramco for next season rather than Aston Martin Cognizant Aramco Formula One team. But yes, lots of news coming out about teams changing names. Just checking our comment section now. Please do be sure to drop a comment there. Let us know where you're watching in from, as well as do be sure to let me know of any questions that you have for me here. I'll be very happy to answer those for all of you. As we move on to our next article here, as Sebastian Vettel has provided a return update as Hamilton has planned for his future. Just moving on to find this about Sebastian Vettel. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula One season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, BitDefender, for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much. If we can ever find this article. There we go. Sebastian Vettel issues a key update on his shock Formula 1 comeback rumour. Sebastian Vettel has played down rumours that he may return to Formula 1, insisting he did not retire from the sport, simply to change his mind a year later. The four-time world champion brought an end to his illustrious career at the end of 2022, after leaving Aston Martin, but has failed to rule out a shock comeback. He has made several appearances in the paddock this year, with these outings sparking wild speculation that may look to secure a seat in the near future. Vettel, who is a 53-time Grand Prix winner, has been reluctant to definitively wave away speculation, but admitted that Formula 1 is no longer his priority. He went on to say, "You can never completely rule out something like that, but at a certain point, it's just over," Vettel said of a Formula 1 comeback. "My age is not the problem though, and it was completely my choice to draw the line. But I didn't draw that line and then lift it. I didn't draw that line to lift it a year later. I consider myself lucky that I can now spend time with my family and with my children. That is my priority right now. In recent years, I've now been able to discover the bigger world. Formula 1, no matter how big it is therefore becoming smaller in comparison." Since retiring, Vettel has competed in the Race of Champions, guested at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and taken part in Red Bull demonstrations. Vettel raced for BMW Sauber, Toro Rosso, Red Bull, and Ferrari before joining Aston Martin, where he spent 2 mixed years before stepping away from the sport of Formula 1. It would certainly be great if we get Sebastian Vettel back in the sport of Formula 1. Of course, we have a German team coming back into Formula 1 with the likes of Audi. Maybe they could be interested in getting him back in a Formula 1 seat. But unfortunately, you have to think whether a bit more of a eco-friendly team comes into the sport. I don't think Sebastian Vettel would be all that much more interested in getting involved, because his new priorities lie away from motorsport and unsustainable motorsport in general. He wants to do stuff that better the sustainability of the planet. That is his whole motto at the moment, of course, is bringing awareness to sustainability, and just saying that there is a possibility for sustainability in motorsports, as he does run those historic cars on sustainable e-fuels. So yeah, very interesting to see what Sebastian Vettel is doing. And yeah, Orville Clisby asking, what is my shortlist of the greatest drivers of all time? Of course, I think you have to put Michael Schumacher up there, Ayrton Senna, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen is certainly on that list now as well. I'm trying to think of who else I would put on that list. I think Niki Lauda as well would have to be on there, but I think we could go on for forever speaking about the greats of Formula 1. As we speak a little bit about Lewis Hamilton, who has revealed as he is preparing for his life after Formula 1 retirement alongside Toto Wolff. Lewis Hamilton has expressed his admiration for Mercedes boss Toto Wolff and credited him with enabling his growth as a businessman. During his time with the Silver Arrows, the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton has evolved beyond being solely a racing driver, guided along by his team principal Toto Wolff. Under Wolff's mentorship, Hamilton has ventured into various business initiatives. He has also been empowered to make Formula 1 more inclusive through projects like Mission 44 and the Hamilton Commission. The friendship that has flourished between the pair extends beyond their professional relationship, which has provided Hamilton with the opportunity to tap into Wolff's considerable business acumen. Hamilton went on to say, "We've unlocked so much. Toto and I are in contact every week, all the time," said Hamilton. "We're good friends, very, very good friends, and we are teammates. We do a lot of talking about cars, we hang out when I'm back home, we have lunch, and I'm always trying to learn from Toto as a businessman, and he's always massively supportive in that regard. You're going to see some things shift over the next couple of months into maybe the next year. You've already seen my progress, and he has been such a huge part of that, being open-minded and allowing me to be who I am. Together, we've unlocked so much, and we've done so much more than I think any other partnership that you've seen in sports on many levels. Certainly great to see the relationship between Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff. Lewis Hamilton in the past few weeks has been, there's been a lot of talk about him. He's opened up a burner account on, I think it was Instagram, that a lot of people have been speculating maybe a new business venture for him. We'll have to wait and see in the next few coming months whether he will release any more information on that. But moving on to another article about Lewis Hamilton, as he is currently chasing for second in the Drivers' Championship, as Sergio Perez's future is currently in woes. Lewis Hamilton's chase for second, as Sergio Perez's future is currently in woes, is currently being spoken about here by Sky Sports. As Max Verstappen has sealed a third consecutive driver's title, there is still a close battle behind him for second in that championship. Having at one stage appeared certain to complete a Red Bull 1-2, Sergio Perez's advantage over Lewis Hamilton is only 30 points going into the final 5 rounds of the season, 2 of which are sprint race weekends with extra scoring points opportunities available. Hamilton blew a major chance to narrow that gap by causing a collision with his teammate George Russell on the first lap of the Qatar Grand Prix, and also saw his advantage over Fernando Alonso fall to 11 points. Aston Martin's drop-off over the second half of the season suggests that the Spaniard is unlikely to be able to challenge Hamilton, but the Brit will no doubt be eager to chase down Perez. While Red Bull closed out on the Constructors' Championship even earlier than Verstappen did the drivers, there's still plenty to play for with the competition that dictates the crucial allocation of drivers' prize money, that is. Mercedes are 28 points clear of Ferrari in the battle for second, having given up the opportunity to significantly extend that gap in Qatar. Aston Martin's steady drift down to the standings looks set to continue, with McLaren having closed to within 11 points of the 4th placed team. It seems inevitable that McLaren will cruise past Aston Martin, but their 79-point deficit to Ferrari suggests that 3rd place could be out of reach for the working squad. Alpine are also all but certain to finish 6th, but anything could happen in the contest for the 4 final places. Can Perez save his seat though? The race for second in the drivers' standings may be a significant factor in Red Bull's decision over whether to retain Sergio Perez. The Mexican has another year on his contract, but his performances over the second half of the season have been unacceptable, and in a more competitive season than Red Bull could have had, could cost Red Bull second in the Constructors' Championship, or in the Drivers' Championship. The noises coming out of the Red Bull camp in Qatar after Perez's latest disappointment display were not hugely positive, with team principal Christian Horner saying a sit-down with his driver was required. Perez will have huge support at the upcoming races in the Americas, most notable at his home Grand Prix in Mexico, and must use that positive energy to produce some sort of form that he showed when winning 2 of the last 4 races of the season. Another element that could influence Red Bull's thinking on Perez will be Daniel Ricciardo's return from a wrist injury that saw him miss 5 races following his crash in Zandvoort. If the Australian can turn in some strong performances during the remainder of the year, the Red Bull hierarchy may consider him to be a better option to partner Verstappen in 2024. Also under the spotlight will be Logan Sargent, whose Williams seat is the only one on the grid that isn't officially confirmed for next season. So still a lot to fight for in the last few remaining races of the season. We do have a triple header ahead of us. We have the Austin Grand Prix this coming race weekend, then the Mexican Grand Prix, and then I think it is Brazil after that. Then it is Las Vegas, then off to our final race in Abu Dhabi. Still a lot to fight for that second driver's position in the championship. Do be sure to let us know who you think can take that second position, as we have a bunch more people joining us at the moment in the stream. Do be sure to like the video and drop us a comment down there letting us know where you're watching from. Also, let me know any questions that you may have about Formula 1 in general. Moving on to our final article here now, as Red Bull have sparked Perez replacement rumours with a throwback photo. Red Bull have sparked wild speculation over Sergio Perez's uncertain future with a seemingly innocuous social media post including Daniel Ricciardo. Perez is embroiled in a fierce battle to retain his seat for next year despite being contracted until 2025, and Ricciardo is waiting in the wings to replace him. According to reports, the Mexican has exhausted the Constructors' Champion's patience, with securing second place his objective over the remaining 5 races. Mercedes' Lewis Hamilton is 30 points adrift, but capable of surpassing Perez, a damning scenario that appears likely to lead to the dismissal of Sergio Perez. The pressure is also growing externally, with Red Bull's online followers making their feelings clear and openly urging Christian Horner to make a drastic change in the team. Christian Horner did come out to say, though, that he does need to sit down with his driver and just hash it out before the next few slurry of races. And what caused all of this controversy or rumor on Twitter was a recent post from the team which had added fuel to the fire following the news that the Belgium Grand Prix will remain on the Formula 1 calendar until 2025. Red Bull opted to mark the occasion with a throwback picture. However, the photo selected featured Max Verstappen and a former sparring partner, Daniel Ricciardo, a move that led to countless commenters sharing in their confusion. As Perez has no plans to retire from the sport, with these rumors described as a load of nonsense by a source, but should he continue racing next year, it may not be with Red Bull. Ricciardo is set to return for AlphaTauri at the United States Grand Prix, having completed his recovery from a broken hand, and will finally replace Liam Lawson, who had a great set of races as the super sub. Lawson caught the eye during his brief first spell at the top of Motorsport and would respect a trustworthy option for AlphaTauri should they lose Ricciardo yet again. Certainly has been an interesting bunch of articles here today. Could we lose Could we lose Sergio Perez from that Red Bull team? Could we have him being replaced by Daniel Ricciardo? Could Daniel Ricciardo then be replaced by Liam Lawson there in AlphaTauri? Because I think that puts a lot of pressure on Yuki Tsunoda for that seat as well for the future. But a lot to think about before this race weekend in Austin. Certainly going to be very exciting. Do be sure to join us for all of our live streams that we are going to be putting out for this upcoming race weekend. It's going to be jam-packed with another sprint race ahead of us. Do be sure to join us for that. I've been Reece here on Forever Motorsports. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you to our regulars all there in the comment section. But once again, thank you very much for joining me. I've been Reece here on Forever Motorsports. Thank you very much for joining us. Cheers. Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Motorsports for another daily live news video. Not too much to talk about today, so we're doing things a little bit earlier, and then we are going to kick you across into a gaming stream after this where I'm going to be going live at about 12 o'clock to try something new out, so we'll see whether that works. But to kick things off here today, the Mercedes chief has explained the new upgrade package which is vital for their 2024 car development. Mercedes will be bringing critical upgrades to the W14 for this race weekend in Austin, Texas. The upgrade package late in the season holds significance though, as it will help guide the Brackley-based team into their 2024 season. After starting their 2023 season on the back foot, Mercedes made a drastic change in development direction mid-season. The sudden change in direction meant that the team had to once again start off the back foot once they ditched their original side pod concept. The new floor design that is set to be introduced in Austin will serve that exact purpose, as technical director James Allison has termed the upgrades as a bellwether of its current trend. Ahead of the sprint race weekend in Texas, Allison explained that it is all about an all-important upgrade package. Hopefully it will give us a bit of lap time, he said. Always a benefit, but it is mostly a useful thing, because it is a bellwether for whether you're on the right track. In lap time terms, it will be small. Useful, but don't expect us to have leaped past Max. While Allison is cautiously optimistic about gaining lap time with the upgrades, it will more importantly help to set the course for Mercedes for the next couple of seasons. There are just 2 years left until the 2026 regulations, which are set to come into effect, and Allison reckons it is extremely important to start the next season with the right concept, to set the tone for the final season under the current set regulations. Yes, it is extremely exciting, he said, and he's alright. He is right that it is very important in the phase, because we all have an eye on the fact that 2026 is coming our way, with major rule changes where everything starts all over again. He concluded by saying that means that what you do for 2024 is also relevant for 2025, because a lot of parts have to be taken with you. So it is hugely important, not just for 2024, but also for 2025. Allison added that the engineers back at their home base in Brackley have a pretty clear-sighted view of what they want to do with the W14 successor. Both Mercedes drivers flourished their chances of a podium finish, or floundered their chances of a podium finish at the Qatar Grand Prix on lap 1 during their collision, which undid their splendid qualifying efforts. Nonetheless though, George Russell's pace was encouraging enough as he rallied through the field to take home a 4th place finish. After an underwhelming weekend in the Middle East, trackside engineer David Andrew Shovlin commented on how the Mercedes W14 would stack up at the Circuit of the Americas. That's a very different track, of course. It's an aggressive tarmac, very easy to overheat the tyres, and probably our worry there is going to be the high-speed performance. That's where the Red Bulls and McLarens look particularly strong. It does have plenty of low-speed corners though, and in Qatar we were very good in the low speed. It's difficult to know though where we are going to stand out, but our goal is to go there and hopefully be fighting for a podium. Mercedes currently sits second in the standings, 28 points up on Ferrari, with 5 rounds left in the season. Most critically though, Lewis Hamilton is still chasing down Sergio Perez for second in the Drivers' Championship. There's 30 points difference between them. Of course, last weekend out in Qatar should have been a weekend where Sergio Perez was able to extend that points lead, but he, of course, did not have a great race weekend there, receiving multiple track limit penalties, which meant that he finished down, I think, in only 10th place. Disappointing for Sergio Perez, but Mercedes could once again just close that gap to the Red Bulls and the McLarens that little bit more yet again this race weekend. We'll have to wait and see whether those upgrades do prove beneficial for the Mercedes squad, but certainly going to be a big point to talk about in this coming race weekend. Looking though a little bit more news about that incident of Lewis Hamilton's at the Qatar Grand Prix where he crossed the track, as Max Verstappen has now been dragged into the Lewis Hamilton FIA review debate over F1 track crossings. Max Verstappen has been dragged into the debate surrounding the FIA's decision to revisit an incident involving Lewis Hamilton at the Qatar Grand Prix. On Sunday, Formula One's governing body, the FIA confirmed that it would be reassessing a penalty for the F1 7-time world champion, who received that penalty for crossing a live track without permission during the Sunday's race in Qatar. Hamilton was fined €50,000, with half of it suspended and given a formal reprimand for crossing the track under safety car conditions, following his dramatic first corner collision with teammate George Russell. At the time, the stewards noted that Hamilton had been apologetic and had acknowledged that the crossing was a serious safety breach in the initial hearing. The FIA cited that the role model status was a reason why they are revisiting the incident amid concerns about the impressions his actions may have created on younger drivers. The decision has sparked debates on social media though, with many suggesting that Hamilton is being singled out by the FIA. Sky Formula One pundit Karun Chandok was quick to question why other drivers have not been flagged for similar actions in the past. Notably, Verstappen was seen crossing the track under safety car conditions, following his Turn 1 crash with Hamilton at the 2021 Italian Grand Prix. Reacting to the news on Twitter, Chandok wrote, "Not saying that this should be condoned, but I'm sure Lewis isn't the first person to do this. Didn't Sargent also cross the track just at the previous racing in Japan? Bit odd to talk about precedent when other people have done it before." He then added, "Max at Monza 2021 is another example that I can think about." Certainly it is a bit of an odd one that Lewis Hamilton is being the only driver singled out at the moment with these incidents. As the TC says there in the comment section that the FIA is the most inconsistent sports authority in the world. They certainly do seem to be, and I've been calling out during our racing streams for more consistency with the stewards at every single race weekend. As at certain tracks we do see all of these hoopla with these track limits and all of the controversy with track limits, and at other weekends it has been set a lot more strictly, and we don't see the drivers taking extra authorities and going over these track limits. But yeah, it's difficult to rule upon, and difficult as a Formula 1 fan to see all of this. And I really thought it would have been done and dusted after the fact that they had given him his fine and concluded that investigation into him. And now that they seem to have reopened it, it does just seem to be opening a can of worms. Moving on, though, to another article with Max Verstappen appealing for Ferrari chairman to call him about a special Michael Schumacher Formula 1 car request. Max Verstappen is determined to get a hold of Michael Schumacher's legendary 2004 Formula 1 car and has urged Ferrari chairman John Elkann to call him. The recent crowned three-time world champion has admitted that he would love to own the dominant F2004 car, which won 15 out of the 18 races and scored 12 pole positions during the 2004 season, as well as all of his championship-winning Red Bull cars. Schumacher claimed 13 victories in the F2004, setting what was then a record for the most wins in a single season, an achievement which Verstappen surpassed in 2022 with 15 victories. It was also the car which powered Schumacher to his 7th and final world championship, before his and Ferrari's F1 reign was ended by Fernando Alonso and Renault. Verstappen has appealed for help from Ferrari's chairman to get that car, as he went on to say, "I would love to have it in my garage, or the Red Bull cars with which I have won an F1 World Championship as well," Verstappen said. In addition to Michael Schumacher's F2004. "It is an incredible car, but I don't know how I would buy it." This is an appeal to the Ferrari chairman, John Elkann. I hope he reads this interview and maybe calls me. In sealing his third World Drivers' title in a row this year, Verstappen has put himself among F1 greats. The 26-year-old Dutchman has joined an elite club of Formula 1 legends, including Schumacher, Juan Manuel Fangio, Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton, in winning a hat-trick of consecutive titles. Certainly has been a dominant year for Max Verstappen this year, as well as a dominant set of world titles in a row, of course, with 3 in a row. And he's just been absolutely on form at the moment. And you have to think whether he's going to be able to continue this form next year, or whether we're going to be able to see some other drivers being able to challenge him. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, BITDEFENDER, for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much. Moving on, though, to the 2026 rule changes that Formula 1 wants to stop the early starters. 2023 marks only the second year of racing with the new generations of Formula 1 cars that were introduced in 2022. New rule changes are scheduled for 2026, though, and that season is closer than it seems. Formula 1 teams are already gauging development strategy for 2026, though, and there is likely to be an agreement on a rule that will hamper those early starters. With the budget cap instituted in Formula 1, planning ahead for development strategy is more important than ever. Before the big rule change of 2026, when engines will change dramatically, teams will want to be prepared in the best possible way. That will affect cars of the next 2 years. Amos quotes Mercedes chief James Allison saying that the cards will be completely reshuffled that season, and everything that happened before no longer counts, as everyone starts with a blank sheet of paper. And that is a major source of hope for Red Bull's rivals, who are unlikely to beat them, led by Christian Horner in the coming years. Putting enough time, material and money into the 2026 cars will require efficient development of 2024 and 2025, said Allison. These cars of these 2 seasons will be very similar. Therefore, the development currently underway at the Formula 1 teams for next year's car is crucial. For Formula 1 tech enthusiasts, there may be little new to discover in 2024 and 2025. A good example of a team that's set to have already lined up its plans for 2026 is Alfa Romeo, which will participate as Sauber from next year on, appearing as the Audi F1 team at the start of 2026. Andrea Seidel has stated that hardly any work will be done on that year's car in 2025. This seems to give the Formula 1 teams reason to think and intervene and stop teams who want to start even earlier from developing their 2026 car. The medium writes that the Formula 1 team's technical chiefs have held consultations in recent weeks on the development of the 2026 car. A majority reportedly agreed that the aerodynamic development of the 2026 car in their wind tunnel should not begin before 2025. There's no confirmation of this yet, but the decision would only need ratification from the FIA and Formula 1 Commission. Of course, there are going to be teams who are currently still trying to develop their current cars that don't want other teams to move on to the 2026 regulations already, because of course then they are going to be hampered in those seasons. But you have to think there's always those teams that are thinking towards the future. How can you stop the likes of Adrian Newey, who does everything on pencil and paper, from developing and writing down any of his ideas? You can't necessarily stop that flow of ideas for him. And in certain situations, you can't stop people from developing and thinking about the future. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they do limit the amount of development that teams are going to be able to do before 2026 and before those new regulations do come into play. With one of the final articles that we have here today, as it is a bit of a shorter news show here for you guys, as we are going to be doing a gaming stream a little bit later. Just checking in the comments here, as we still have TC there, and not too many of you guys, but still a lot of interesting news coming out here today, as AlphaTauri have been called out by Rodin's Dicker, as he says that the valuation is commercially unviable for Formula 1. Rodin Cars founder and prospective Formula 1 entrant David Dicker says that the $1 billion valuation put on AlphaTauri by Red Bull is commercially unviable. Dicker, whose recent application seeking an entry into Formula 1 in the name of Rodin was rejected by the FIA, and has now revealed that he held tentative talks with Red Bull over the acquisition of AlphaTauri. However, the $1 billion price tag slapped on the Faenza-based outfit makes little sense in Dicker's view. The Kiwi calling the team's value proposition weak. Well, I did have some talks about buying AlphaTauri, but the price is commercially unviable, as far as I can understand it, Dicker told Racer. You've still got to look at these things in commercial terms, and the Formula 1 guys are experts on the motorsport side, but on the business side, I'm not so sure. I've had a few people talk about this and that, but nothing tremendously concrete. I do have a couple of things that I might be getting a bit more info in the next week or two about some possibilities there, but the value proposition is weak. Dicker admitted to feeling upset that the FIA rejected his Formula 1 project, but the 69-year-old tech entrepreneur isn't giving up his motorsport ambitions, hinting that he has another idea in the pipeline. I do have another project that I'm working on, he said. It is quite interesting and exciting, but I can't talk about it quite yet because I still haven't got it. But let me put it this way, I'm pretty upset about not getting into Formula 1, so I'm not just going to walk away and sulk. That's just the way I am. I mean, you want to do things, and that's what life's about. You just try to do them, and if you can't do it one way, then look for another way, or other things, or other ways of doing it. Dicker, who acquired a majority stake in Carlin at the beginning of the year, reveals he was also a potential bidder when Williams was on the market in 2020. He says that he also engaged in discussions with both Sauber and Haas in the past regarding potential investments. Well, I would buy a team if I thought there was a viable route, but paying 800 to 900 million for AlphaTauri would probably not be considered commercially viable. But you know, just got to see if there's possibilities, he said. I made a mistake when Williams was for sale, because I could have bought that pretty easily, and I didn't read the strategic landscape correctly. And that, with the way that we made the bid, which in hindsight was an obvious mistake, but that's how it goes. I had a lot of talks with Williams about buying the team, saw all the numbers and sat through presentations, and made them an offer and everything. I've had a few guys talking about other teams from time to time, mostly Sauber and Haas, which have been more or less on and off the market for years, and could have been probably bought for much lower numbers. That made a lot more sense, and like I said, I probably screwed that up. Interesting to see that there are still teams possibly on the market for the future, but we'll have to wait and see if David Dicker does get a team on the market and does get it for the right price. Of course, AlphaTauri are, you have to think, no longer on the market because they seem to be getting a title sponsor for next year. But we'll have to wait and see what does happen with all of those teams and with David Dicker in the future. Certainly very, very exciting for the Formula One landscape in the future. We'll have to wait and see what does happen with all of that. But as I said, very, very interesting to see what is happening at the moment in Formula One. Thank you very, very much, though, for joining me here today. We are going to push you across to that gaming stream. That is going to be starting at 12 o'clock, so do be sure to join me there. As I see, we have Orville Clisby there in the comment section as well, saying it is all very political in Formula One. Of course it is. It is always a bit crazy in terms of the politics that does go on. But yes, thank you very much for joining me here today. I've been Reece here on Forever Motorsports. I will be joining you shortly at 12 o'clock for that gaming stream. Do be sure to join me in the comment section. I'd love to hear all of you guys alongside with me. And yes, I see TC says she will join me, or they will join me a little bit later. Thank you very much, though. I've been Reece here on Forever Motorsports. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Forever Motorsports for another daily live news video here. A lot to talk about today, a lot of rumors going around the paddock, a lot of rumors going around online as well. The first one today, that is our headline for the show, is Audi have pulled the plug on their Formula One project. Porsche, though, is their possible successor. An extraordinary rumor has come out via France's Le Auto Journal. Audi has already signed up for Formula One, but it is said to now have cold feet. Porsche is the front row runner to take over though, but not everybody is waiting for them. From 2026, Audi will step into Formula One with all of its might, step by step with the Sauber team, which will be brought out, and in 2026, Audi will also supply the engine to the team, a big step for the German manufacturer. And they are starting to realize this internally as well. At least that is the story appearing in the French media. Sorry about that, there seems to have been an issue on my side, but we'll start that all again just to bring you all in from the beginning. Welcome to Forever Motorsports for another daily Formula One news video. Sorry about that small issue from our side, but we are back up and running again. But we will go over our title for this video and the big news article for today. Audi have reportedly pulled the plug on their Formula One project. A lot of rumors going around the grid at the moment, a lot of rumors going around on social media as well, that Porsche are going to take over the Audi Formula One entry. In the rather unexpected comeback, Porsche could find itself to be a part of the Formula One grid in 2026, after supposedly taking over Audi's Formula One operations. That means that all of the work done by Audi so far will be taken over and rebranded with Porsche badging. Towards the end of last year, Porsche put its Formula One entry plans on hold after discussions with Red Bull didn't find success, reportedly due to the Zuffenhausen manufacturer's unreasonable demands. With this in their rear view, the Milton Keynes outfit signed a deal with Ford as their official powertrains partner for the future, replacing Honda. In Audi's case, though, the brand began preparations to enter Formula One from 2026 onwards, through the Alfa Romeo Sauber team, which is set to be rebranded to the name Sauber for only 2.5 years until the Audi takeover in 2026. But not everything has been going smoothly with Audi after a premature exit of their CEO, Markus Duesmann, who was reportedly responsible for bringing the company's Formula One project to fruition. Unfortunately, though, his successor, Gernot Döllner, isn't as enthusiastic about the rapid growing sport. In fact, though, according to an internal source at Audi, he is even ready for a backtrack from the Formula One project. As per reports, the VW Group would still continue its plans to be a part of Formula One in 2026, but without the Audi badge. In a surprising twist to the story, the Audi Formula One project is rumoured to be taken over by Porsche, and that means Porsche would have to redo any of the homework done by Audi. It wouldn't have to redo any of the homework already turned in by Audi. It would simply take over the work done by the colleague team and rebrand it with its own logo. To further direct resources into Formula One, Porsche would abandon the Formula E project by the end of 2025. The idea of an abrupt Porsche takeover would definitely make people raise their eyebrows and open their mouths in awe. Not to forget the reaction of the Audi employees who have been working enthusiastically to witness the four rings on an F1 car in 2026. However, the Porsche takeover of the Audi Formula One operations would not be that quick and easy. There is a long due process that goes behind the scenes to rebrand all work that has been done so far. The time gap should allow Audi to have some breathing space to take it all in if the rumour is actually true. Certainly a lot of speculation going around about that. Certainly a bit disappointing if Audi are set to walk away from the sport. We don't want that to happen. But it certainly could be an option for the future if Audi are reportedly not so excited or interested anymore from taking over or taking that step into Formula One. I would certainly be upset, but at least we'd still have the German manufacturer of Porsche coming into the sport reportedly if Audi are set to walk away. Orville Clisby just says it's just a logo swap under the same auto group. Essentially it is, but yeah, I'm a major Audi fan, so it would be quite sad to lose them from the sport. But nonetheless, would be quite exciting to have Porsche in the sport nonetheless. Moving on to more Formula One rumours, though with Sergio Perez reportedly denying rumours going around the paddock that he could be announcing his retirement at the Mexican Grand Prix. As I say, though, this is just a rumour, and a rumour circulating on social media about the retirement of Red Bull driver Sergio Perez has been categorically denied by sources close to the driver. A detailed rumour about the Mexican announcing his retirement from the sport at the upcoming Grand Prix in his home country later this month has been gaining traction on social media, after a season where Sergio Perez has trailed his teammate Max Verstappen by a distance since the fifth race in Miami. The post, which was first seen on social media website Reddit, claims a former high-ranking commercial employee of one of Sergio Perez's sponsor, Escuderia Telmex, spoke at a dinner following a test day at a racetrack and said that Red Bull had told Perez they will not be keeping him for 2024, and that the decision was communicated during the Japanese Grand Prix. The post also claimed that a celebration would be prepared in honour of Sergio Perez during the Mexican Grand Prix, celebrating the driver's storied Formula One career. Perez's retirement Perez's retirement is surely not imminent, but is certainly coming closer. GP fans also asked a source close to Perez about the claims, and they said that reports of an impending retirement announcement were a load of nonsense. That would tie in with the remarks from Perez 6 weeks ago that he would race through 2026 at least, before looking to wrap up his Formula 1 career. I want to keep going, at least until 2026, when the new set of rule changes comes into effect, and experience how much I can enjoy with these new set of rules. From then on, I'll decide what will come for me in the future. Looking at these rumors on Twitter, it said there that not an actual dinner party, but easier for the title. A few days ago, several people were testing some race cars at a local track. After the day the track was over, the guys' group joined our group and we all went to dinner. And he said, I don't know this person personally, but he works for Scuderia Telmex, and he went on to say that Red Bull has told Sergio that they will not keep him for 2026 or 2024, breaking that existing contract. Nothing new in Formula 1, and there are no seats available. Only one confirmed is Williams, and pretty much going on to what we said throughout the remainder of our article. Sergio Perez, though, has himself recognised that Verstappen, who has run away with this title in 2023, has had a special season, remarking that he believes his teammates' championship run to be only one of the best of all time. This year, my objective is clearly to be second place, indicated Perez. Next year, I want to improve and fight for the title. That is my goal. You have to think, if Sergio Perez can fight for the title next year, then certainly he does have a little bit more traction in that Red Bull seat. At the moment, though, he is still fighting for that second place in the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton in that Mercedes is certainly closing down on that points haul at the moment. There's only about 30 points between them right now. And if Sergio Perez doesn't get that second place in the title, then you have to think his seat may be under a bit more pressure for next year or 2025. But nonetheless, we do expect Sergio Perez to be in that seat next year. It would certainly be a major shock if he did come out and announce his retirement in the upcoming Mexican Grand Prix. Just having a look in our poll at the moment, do you think Sergio Perez will lose the Red Bull seat? 67% saying yes and 33% saying no at the moment. Do be sure to vote in that poll if you haven't just yet. But yes, very interesting to see what all of you guys think there in that comment section. Do be sure to drop us any questions or any extra comments down there for us. As we move on to the next article, Mercedes Formula 1 drivers have been taking time away from the races to rank their Formula 1 problems. Mercedes Formula 1 drivers Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have dedicated time away from the fractious race weekends to rank their car problems to help find fixes for the 2024 season. Amid the 8-time Constructors' Champions' ongoing ground effect struggles, Technical Director Mike Elliott and Chief Technical Officer James Allison swapped roles back in April. Allison has alluded to this change leading to a shift in how Hamilton, who has cited a constant improving process, and Russell are involved in the work back at the Brackley factory. He reckons that while the team has more access to its drivers at races, the pair have put aside time for us in slightly cooler environments of home to rank their grievances. He explained that the race weekends you get your greatest access to the drivers because you're with each other for multiple hours. But it is also a very fractious environment to interact with the drivers because the pressure of doing well at the circuits means that it's just slightly less of an objective than if you're doing it back at home. The drivers had been doing well enough though to put aside their time for us in a slightly cooler environment of home, he said. That has proved useful. It proved useful for ranking the problems, as they have for seeing the opportunities and just making sure that these things that we are working on are well aligned for what they are describing. Hamilton has previously expressed his discomfort with the seat position of the W14, which is further forward relative to its rivals, making him less confident with the rear axle of the car. Russell, meanwhile, has moved forwards to a softer setup in recent rounds, something he credits with improving his qualifying performances. Allison added that Mercedes has been charting a path and has a very clear idea of the areas it must address for 2024. Even if this might be overlooked from the outside world, given that the team has not made the in-season progress of McLaren. He continued to say, "I feel that all of us have a pretty clear-sighted view of what we want to do with the car. This championship, while we haven't really made the progress that McLaren have, we have nevertheless been charting a path through the season that gives us a very clear idea of what we need to put right. So that makes next year's car very exciting to look forward to, and this period of this year extremely enjoyable." Glad to hear that the drivers are making time to go to the factory during non-race weekends and just put right to those issues that they are having with the cars and just get a better understanding of where those issues are coming from, and hopefully that means that they can fundamentally get rid of them for next year and have an overall more competitive car that can fight further up the grid and fight with the Red Bulls, the McLarens, and possibly fight for that championship. We'd certainly love to have a championship that's a lot closer next year between a whole bunch more teams. As we move on to another article speaking about Toto Wolff, who has admitted frustrations following Hamilton and Russell's Qatar Grand Prix crash, but backs the pair to grow ahead of the Austin Grand Prix ahead of us this race weekend. Toto Wolff has admitted it was a frustrating weekend not to score more points in Qatar, after Lewis Hamilton and George Russell collided on the opening lap of the race. However, the Mercedes team principal backed his pair to move on from the incident as they look to get back on track in Qatar or in Austin this upcoming race weekend. Russell and Hamilton came together at turn 1 at the start of the Grand Prix, with the latter looking to make his way round the outside of the corner of George Russell. While Lewis Hamilton's race ended there in the gravel, Russell recovered into P4 after initially dropping to the back of the field. But Wolff was keen to leave the incident in the past, despite the obvious frustrations, turning his attention to maximising this weekend's Circuit of the Americas race, which kicks off the triple header that follows up with the Mexican and concludes in the Brazil race. We have a busy couple of race weekends coming up as the season reaches its conclusion, starting with the triple header in USA, Mexico, and Brazil, said Wolff. The last round in Qatar was a case of what might have been. As a team, you never want to see your cars collide. It was a frustrating weekend to leave a lot of points on the table, particularly as the pace of the car was really strong. It was encouraging though to see how the drivers and the team reacted, with both Lewis and George knowing that the team comes first and not to ever intend to jeopardize that. I'm sure that we will all grow from this moment, and we are now focused on Austin and making sure that we get the most out of each upcoming weekend. Wolff also gave an update on the upgraded floor Mercedes are set to introduce this weekend, as they look to gain some breathing space in the battle to second in the Constructors' Championship with Ferrari. It is always great to race at the Circuit of the Americas. There is always a fantastic atmosphere, and the city welcomes Formula 1 with open arms, said Wolff. COTA is one of the most challenging circuits on the current run of tracks, and a real thrill for the Formula 1 drivers. We'll be bringing a modified floor, which is the last significant update we will take to the track this year. It will hopefully bring a small gain, but more importantly, it is another milestone in setting up our development for next year's W15. The battle for second in the Constructors has become more intense in recent races, and we will need to keep our heads down and keep pushing and aim to score as many points as we can to increase our advantage. Second place Mercedes currently lead Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship by 28 points, with 5 races and 2 sprint races left of the year. So certainly a lot more potential to score points before the end of the season, and certainly a lot more points to score before that Drivers' and Constructors' Championship is wrapped up in Abu Dhabi. Moving on to one of our final articles here. This was the title for the video, and then we did see those rumors going around about Audi, and this rumor, or this new article that has come out, speaking about Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Anthony Joshua, and Rory McIlroy, who are among a host of sports stars to join Alpine's investor group. Alpine and Auto Capital have welcomed some of the world's biggest sports stars as new strategic investors into their €200 million fund, including Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Rory McIlroy, and Anthony Joshua. Auto Capital have welcomed these new partners into its existing group of premier investors in Alpine, which already included Red Bull Redbird Capital Partners, and Maximum Efforts Investments. And also actors such as Ryan Reynolds, who invested in the team earlier this year. Ottawa Capital have now welcomed new investors into the form of some of the world's best athletes, which include Kansas City Chiefs star Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, world number 2 golfer Rory McIlroy, former heavyweight champion boxer Anthony Joshua, and Liverpool former footballer Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm thrilled to lead an investor group and join forces with Patrick and the team at Ottawa Capital on this exciting venture with Alpine, said Kelce. Our shared passion for excellence and innovation forms the cornerstone of this partnership. It is all about being able to contribute to a sport that demands precision, teamwork, and relentless pursuit of success. I'm looking forward to this new chapter and cannot wait to see what we achieve together. Mahomes added, I've always had a passion for all sports. The opportunity to lead an investor group with Travis and Alpine Formula One alongside Ottawa Capital was one I couldn't pass up on. It's an exciting time for the sport, and this is an opportunity to bring our shared values to the world stage. I'm looking forward to being part of its growth. Anthony Joshua was also delighted with the opportunity to get involved, and he went on to say, the chance to strategically invest with Ottawa Capital and Alpine was an opportunity I couldn't ignore. The heritage of the team, mixed with the global growth of Formula One as a sport and brand, made this a very serious proposition. I'm excited to start this opportunity with Ottawa and a great group of fellow investors, and I hope to help the team achieve its full success and potential in the future. McIlroy then went on to comment that the passion for excellence on the golf course has led me to admire the same pursuit in Formula One. Partnering with Ottawa Capital and Alpine's Formula One is an exhilarating venture that unites my love for sports, competition, and the relentless drive to pursue the best. Co-founder of Ottawa Capital, Alex Schneider, said, we are honoured at Ottawa Capital to be joined by this particular group of investors into our Alpine Formula One group investment, in partnership with Redbird Capital Partners and Maximum Effort Investments. These are the best-in-class investors, athletes, and entertainers and entrepreneurs, and they are all committed to elevating the Alpine Formula One team. Certainly very exciting to see all of these new investors making their way into Formula One and into the investment group of Alpine Formula One. As Orville Clisby says there in the comment section, Lewis Hamilton is hanging around hoping for another championship with Mercedes to beat Michael Schumacher's 7 world titles. He certainly is looking to extend his title championship lead over Michael Schumacher and hoping to break those records there. But it is certainly going to be quite difficult to do that. But I don't think you can ever discount Lewis Hamilton in Formula One. Moving over to our final 2 articles, speaking a little bit about Max Verstappen, as Max Verstappen delivers a surprising statement about his long-term interest in joining Ferrari, discussing the issue with Formula One news outlets. A wise man once popularized the phrase, everyone is a Ferrari fan. There seems to be a lot of truth in this, saying that with the 3-time world champion Max Verstappen admitting his admiration for the Italian outfit. The Dutchman had a blockbuster contract with Red Bull, keeping him in the team until at least 2028. Despite this, there has been plenty of speculation regarding his future across Formula One news. Quite frequently, Verstappen has made headlines for his honest responses to questions about retirement. Given he is only 26 years old, there's no reason why he would want to stop racing in Formula One anytime soon. Quite frequently, Verstappen has made headlines. As he mentions previously, his existing contract will keep him in Formula One for several seasons. This alone, though, should make clear where his priorities lie. However, this does not stop conversations about his long-term commitment to the sport. Generally speaking, this discussion surrounding Verstappen retiring permanently prematurely is unfounded, while the Red Bull driver insists his interests are beyond racing. It is far too soon to be seriously suggesting he might want to give up his racing gloves. Moreover, the Dutchman has spoken about potentially driving for Ferrari. Although he is committed to Red Bull, recent commitments or recent comments suggest that there are possibilities for driving for the Maranello outfit. It is an incredible history in the sport, or it has an incredibly... Speaking about the team, he went on to say, it has an incredible history in the sport, and is a great opportunity, and is a great opponent to compete against. A future at Ferrari, when my current contract expires, I will be 31 years old, and I think I can still do well. I would like to keep for my personal collection the 3 single-seaters which I was world champion with, but also Michael Schumacher's F2004. It is a fantastic car, however, I don't know where he buys it. Or I don't know how I could buy it. Is this an appeal to John Elkann? Absolutely yes. I hope he reads this interview and calls me. Similar comments are consistent across the grid, especially from drivers who have world championships. Lewis Hamilton, for example, has spoken about his admiration for Ferrari and their achievements in Formula 1. For several reasons, however, a move did not materialize. There were even reports of talks between Hamilton and Ferrari earlier on in the season, with the British driver's relationship with the team principal, Fred Vasseur, which further fueled speculation. Others, such as Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel, tried to secure a world title for their Italian outfit. For various factors, neither succeeded in returning the crown to the Maranello outfit. With this in mind, Verstappen could create massive shockwaves if he ever moves to Ferrari, and although we shouldn't get carried away with all those hypotheticals, he is an all-time status. His all-time status would undoubtedly be bolstered if he can win in the Scarlet Red. However, even that possibility of this happening is well into the future. This is especially true given that, at least for now, Charles Leclerc is already established as the chosen one at Maranello. For now, there was an Italian word that I could not pronounce, so I decided to just move on from that. Regardless, seeing how much the Formula 1 driver market evolves, it will be intriguing to see. Verstappen, though, is unlikely to make a dramatic move and shock Formula 1 news headlines anytime soon, but his affinity for Ferrari is worth noting. It would certainly be great to see Max Verstappen in the red in future. You have to think that if anyone can take a world championship to Ferrari, it certainly would be Max Verstappen. Moving on to our final article speaking about Verstappen, the triple world crown champion can join the 50-win club should he pick up victory at this weekend's US Grand Prix. The half-century of Grand Prix wins is now within reach for Max Verstappen, after a stunning period of success in which he's won 39 of the last 61 races held since the start of the 2021 season. This year, he could go on to claim the first title of his career, and he has quickly added 2 more, as he has ripped up the record books in 2023, and firmly taken Lewis Hamilton's crown as the man to beat in Formula 1. Given the events of the 2021 finale in Abu Dhabi, much of the season has been yet forgotten, and some of the thrilling battles Verstappen and Hamilton have been largely overshadowed. But Verstappen's 18th Grand Prix win on October 2021 was his greatest, firmly putting Hamilton on the back foot and dealing a blow in the title race with a 14-point swing, given the 25 he got for winning and the 18 Hamilton did for second. Austin was generally considered a Mercedes circuit, but Verstappen grabbed pole position on Formula 1's return stateside following the COVID-19 pandemic, with Lewis Hamilton securing second. Given the nature of the run to turn 1 at Austin, with P2 often scything up the inside to take the lead and ferocity of the title race, the odds of both making it cleanly out into turn 1 were slim to say the least. But surprisingly, the duo did just that, with Hamilton leading from Verstappen, as Red Bull elected to stop early with the Dutchman successfully undercutting the Mercedes to regain the lead of the race. By lap 29 of 56, Verstappen was called in for his second stop, leaving him just under half the race to do on a single set of tyres, with Mercedes playing the smart game by keeping Hamilton out to build a fresh tyre offset. He stopped 8 laps later, leaving him 19 laps to chase down the 8.8 seconds or so that separated the two drivers. Rather than going all out and destroying his tyres and leaving no energy to be deployed, the Verstappen led the cat and mouse chase with Hamilton to begin the reel, who began to reel in his prey and carve chunks of time out from the deficit. This canny move allowed Verstappen to still have some tyre life in his Pirellis for the final assault, even picking up an assist beginning the final lap with DRS on the pit straight from the lapped Mick Schumacher. The Austin race was a composed, analytical Verstappen. The Austin race was a composed and analytical Verstappen in the mold of peak Hamilton or Fernando Alonso in his ability to lead the race and stick to executing his game plan. In 2021, the season where he took his risk against Hamilton and left his driving left a lot to be desired, such as in Imola and Spain and the collisions in Italy and Saudi Arabia, this was an excellent sign of maturity for Verstappen. It gave him the luxury of a buffer to play with the charge towards Abu Dhabi, and we all know what happened then. Could Verstappen go on to have another dominant victory in Austin this race weekend and go and extend his lead of races and lead in his title championship once again this season? Certainly he could go on to do that this next race weekend, and you have to think after the run of races that he's had this year, he could certainly go on to take this race win and win number 50 for the Dutchman and write his name firmly into the history books yet again. That is it from me though here today on Forever Motorsports. Thank you very much for joining me, Orville, and some of our other viewers here in the comment section. Thank you very much for participating in the poll as well. I've been Reece here on Forever Motorsports. Thank you very much for joining me. Cheers. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, BITDEFENDER, for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much. McLaren will trial the use of cutting-edge recycled carbon fiber on its car at the United States Grand Prix. The Woking-based outfit arrives at the Circuit of the Americas, hoping to build off of a strong weekend in Qatar, where Oscar Piastri claimed victory in the sprint race before Lando Norris joined him on the podium in the main race. Working together with V-Carbon, an innovative composites organization, McLaren has sourced materials to create their first-of-their-kind components that will be used on the cockpit's branding panels. It is a step in the team's target of developing a fully circular Formula One car by the end of the decade, in line with the sport's own goals and bringing astounding benefits. If just 1% of carbon fiber manufactured across the globe last year was recycled carbon fiber, 32,535 tons of carbon emissions would have been saved. This is equivalent to half of McLaren's total emissions across last year. We're proud to team up with V-Carbon, they said, to lead the charge in sustainable materials, running with recycled carbon fiber at the Austin GP, said Piers Tyne, McLaren Chief Operating Officer. The potential future applications of RCF are hugely exciting. V-Carbon offers up to 80% of carbon fiber original strength, making it strong enough for a variety of applications in Formula One and beyond. We will work continuously with the FIA, Formula One, and fellow teams to help accelerate change in Formula One. It's very exciting to see that they are trying to trial these recycled carbon fiber materials and composites on their car for this next Grand Prix race weekend out in Austin. It's going to be very interesting to see whether this is going to be beneficial and whether it will be able to be implemented across the rest of the Formula One teams in the future. It is certainly a major talking point, a major step in the right direction for Formula One, because they are wanting to move towards more sustainable materials and more sustainability in the sport of Formula One as a whole. So certainly bringing in recycled carbon materials and carbon composites onto the cars could certainly be a major step in the right direction for the sport's sustainability. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cybersecurity. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula One season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, BITDEFENDER, for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much. Haas have planned a Red Bull style upgrade that will be its biggest upgrade of the season. Haas will switch to a Red Bull style car concept before the end of 2023, with what is set to be Formula One's biggest ever season upgrade. The Ferrari customer team has persevered with a car design that features wide side pod inlets and high-walled edges, and a side pod surface that drops down in the middle to create a channel that turns to the rear of their car. It will finally abandon this though, by moving to what has become much more conventional throughout the paddock, with it being a more Red Bull style. Haas have realised 1 month or so before the summer break that its design concept had hit a performance ceiling, whereas others like McLaren had made significant changes and made big gains instantly. This has prompted Haas to abandon plans to bring regular upgrades to the initial VF23 concept and make a fundamental design change before the end of the year. Expected for this upcoming United States Grand Prix at Austin, in which the team boss Günther Steiner has said would be the biggest change Haas has ever made in a season. The concept of the car will change, go in that downwash direction, Steiner said. You're limited though with your chassis and a few other things as well, you know. But we are trying to do that downwash concept as well, like everybody else has got. He added, we know the direction for next year. We weren't sure. Should we do it this year or not? And then next year we go full on that route. We had to say, let's do something this year, so at least we learn as much as possible for next year. Asked by the race on how much instant progress Haas have expected from the upgrade and how much its introduction would be unlocking for more potential, Günther Steiner said that the team's biggest problem with this existing concept was that it couldn't find any performance anymore. We developed the whole year and there was nothing more that we could do, he said. And at some stage, you need to decide whether we need to do something different here. We cannot keep on banging our head against the wall, crying, and obviously, the other ones. You look at the other cars and just see that they keep on finding performance. McLaren seem to change the system. They seem to find something else, and at some stage you need to say, we need to change our concept too. We need to face reality. Very interesting to see that Haas are going to be changing their concept come this Austin Grand Prix. Whether their upgrades will be allowing them to get a little bit higher up in the standings, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be very interesting to see if they are going to be able to make those instant changes like the McLarens were able to see early on in the season and have that instant success. And I think it would be quite exciting if we do get another car battling it out in the midfield. Mercedes will be bringing critical upgrades to the W14 for this race weekend in Austin, Texas. The upgrade package late in the season holds significance though, as it will help guide the Brackley-based team into their 2024 season. After starting their 2023 season on the back foot, Mercedes made a drastic change in development direction mid-season. The sudden change in direction meant that the team had to once again start off the back foot once they ditched their original side pod concept. The new floor design that is set to be introduced in Austin will serve that exact purpose, as technical director James Allison has termed the upgrades as a bellwether of its current trend. Ahead of the sprint race weekend in Texas, Allison explained that it is all about an all-important upgrade package. Hopefully it will give us a bit of lap time, he said. Always a benefit, but it is mostly a useful thing, because it is a bellwether for whether you're on the right track. In lap time terms, it will be small. Useful, but don't expect us to have leaped past max. While Allison is cautiously optimistic about gaining lap time with the upgrades, it will more importantly help to set the course for Mercedes for the next couple of seasons. There are just 2 years left until the 2026 regulations, which are set to come into effect. And Allison reckons it is extremely important to start the next season with the right concept, to set the tone for the final season under the current set regulations. Yes, it is extremely exciting, he said, and he is right that it is very important in the phase, because we all have an eye on the fact that 2026 is coming our way, with major rule changes where everything starts all over again. He concluded by saying that means that what you do for 2024 is also relevant for 2025, because a lot of parts have to be taken with you. So it is hugely important, not just for 2024, but also for 2025. Allison added that the engineers back at their home base in Brackley have a pretty clear-sighted view of what they want to do with the W14 successor. Mercedes currently sits second in the standings, 28 points up on Ferrari, with 5 rounds left in the season. Most critically though, Lewis Hamilton is still chasing down Sergio Perez for second in the Drivers' Championship. There's 30 points difference between them. Mercedes could, once again, just close that gap to the Red Bulls and the McLarens that little bit more. We'll have to wait and see whether those upgrades do prove beneficial for the Mercedes squad, but certainly going to be a big point to talk about in this coming race weekend. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cybersecurity. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, BITDEFENDER, for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much. Max Verstappen delivers a surprising statement about his long-term interest in joining Ferrari, discussing the issue with Formula 1 news outlets. A wise man once popularized the phrase, "Everyone is a Ferrari fan." There seems to be a lot of truth in this, with the 3-time world champion Max Verstappen admitting his admiration for the Italian outfit. The Dutchman had a blockbuster contract with Red Bull, keeping him in the team until at least 2028. Despite this, there has been plenty of speculation regarding his future across Formula 1 news. Quite frequently, Verstappen has made headlines for his honest responses to questions about retirement. Given he is only 26 years old, there's no reason why he would want to stop racing in Formula 1 anytime soon. The Dutchman has spoken about potentially driving for Ferrari. Although he is committed to Red Bull, recent comments suggests that there are possibilities for driving for the Maranello outfit. Speaking about the team, he went on to say, "It has an incredible history in the sport and is a great opponent to compete against. A future at Ferrari, when my current contract expires, I will be 31 years old, and I think I can still do well." Similar comments are consistent across the grid, especially from drivers who have world championships. Lewis Hamilton, for example, has spoken about his admiration for Ferrari and their achievements in Formula 1. For several reasons, however, a move did not materialize. There were even reports of talks between Hamilton and Ferrari earlier on in the season, with the British driver's relationship with the team principal, Fred Vasseur, further fueled speculation. Others, such as Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel, tried to secure a world title for their Italian outfit. For various factors, neither succeeded in returning the crown to the Maranello outfit. With this in mind, Verstappen could create massive shockwaves if he ever moves to Ferrari, and although we shouldn't get carried away with all this hypotheticals, his all-time status would undoubtedly be bolstered if he can win in the Scarlet Red. It would certainly be great to see Max Verstappen in the red in future. You have to think that if anyone can take a world championship to Ferrari, it certainly would be Max Verstappen. Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reece. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, BITDEFENDER, for joining the channel. I've been Reece here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Circuit of the Americas, home of the US Grand Prix. The Circuit of the Americas track, based in Austin, Texas, is a 5.15 kilometer long circuit, made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS straights, in which drivers spend around 59% of the lap at full throttle. The circuit designers took inspiration from classic F1 circuits when designing this track, such as the complex between turns 3, 4, 5 and 6, which took its inspiration from Silverstone's Maggots and Beckett's, as well as replicating Istanbul's famous turn 8 in the final sector of the track. This circuit has been on the F1 calendar since 2012 and became the 6th different US track to host a Grand Prix event. Since its inaugural race, 10 races have been held at this circuit, with 5 different drivers taking the winner's trophy, with the most successful driver around the circuit being Lewis Hamilton with 5 of those race wins. The US Grand Prix has been won from pole position on 5 occasions, with the current lap record being a 1 minute 32 seconds .029 set by Valtteri Bottas in 2019. The other 5 wins have come from second on the grid, while the race has never been won from a driver who hasn't started on the front row. This will make getting the race win around here that much more difficult for drivers who don't maximize their qualifying position on Friday. This Formula 1 weekend has a jam-packed schedule, with FP1 and qualifying on the Friday, the sprint shootout and sprint race on Saturday, and of course, the main event on Sunday. Watch now as you get taken around a lap of the Circuit of the Americas. Let us know in the comment section who you are supporting for the US Grand Prix. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We sure hope to see you during our live coverage of the US Grand Prix.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Forever Motorsports. You're joined by myself, Mark, and Reece obviously alongside me for qualifying. Actually, I'm going to go quickly change that text over there. It's the one thing we didn't change. But we are about to get going with qualifying here in the United States Grand Prix. It is a sprint weekend, which means therefore we will of course have qualifying tonight, and then we will have the sprint shootout and the sprint tomorrow.
Yes, of course. Tomorrow will be the sprint shootout, as Mark says, and the sprint race, of course. Really looking forward to that sprint race tomorrow afternoon. I think it's going to be quite exciting around here in the Circuit of the Americas. I think qualifying here today is going to be quite exciting as well. Of course, we have the Red Bulls already running away with it with Max Verstappen, but what can happen for the fight for P2? Possibly still a fight for P1 though, even with Max Verstappen not necessarily being securely on that top spot. We could have the likes of Lewis Hamilton coming through. He's shown some great pace in the practice session this morning, and well, this evening rather, and as well as the Ferraris have shown some great pace, and I don't think we can count out the McLarens all just yet.
No, not at all. And we're seeing now Liam Lawson is being interviewed. Of course, he is not participating in this weekend again, and he's not going to be participating in the remainder of the season unless something untoward happens, as Daniel Ricciardo is back from his injury, of course. So he will be back in the AlphaTauri this weekend, and let's see what he can do in qualifying. Can he outperform his teammates? Going to be big things to watch with regards to Ricciardo and Sergio Perez for the remainder of the season, because if we see Ricciardo doing very well in that AlphaTauri car and Perez doesn't perform in that Red Bull car, you might still see an ultimatum for Perez for next season, and maybe gets replaced by the likes of the Australian.
Yes, well, you have to think if he doesn't pick up his pace, and you also have to think of the attitude that he has at certain races where he gets really upset with his race engineers, where he kind of just has a bit of a tantrum on the radio.
That's Tsunoda.
Yuki Tsunoda, yes.
I haven't talked about
I'm talking if he's not able to pick up his pace, sorry, then you have to think maybe they should be able to, well, should be looking to replace him with Liam Lawson.
Oh, we're talking about that, right. I was talking about Sergio Perez and Daniel Ricciardo, and the fact that Daniel Ricciardo needs to do quite well for the remainder of the season to see if he can try and push Sergio Perez out of that Red Bull seat if an ultimatum comes there. But yes, we see the crowd building very nicely here for qualifying. People are joining us here in the comments, and great to have you guys all back. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and if you have not already done so. And yeah, I think let's give some predictions immediately. That's what we can probably start here off in a poll. Who's going to top Q1? And let's ask you first, Reece.
Well, I think off the back of practice already, Max Verstappen is quite dominant. You'd expect him to be off the back of the season that he's been having. But I'd love to throw someone else out there for P1 today. And I think Lewis Hamilton being the most dominant driver around the circuit, I'm going to put him on P1 today.
Okay, so you're going to say P1 in Q1 or generally in P1?
I think generally, well, for maybe P3. Oh, not P3 as in Q3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying Lewis Hamilton's actually going to start on pole for Sunday.
I'm throwing out bold predictions here today.
Well, and your Q1 prediction then?
Q1 dropouts or Q1?
Q1 prediction as to who's going to go, who's going to top it.
Let's say Verstappen then.
Verstappen's going to top Q1, and then who are your 5 that are going to drop?
It's hard to say Logan Sargent because I know it's his home race, but possibly Logan Sargent, maybe one or two of the Alfa Romeos, and possibly one or both of the Alpines today, because they haven't shown haven't shown great pace.
I think Stroll is going to be one of them. Of course, he had a big issue in practice 1, of course, with regards to his brake issue. I don't think he'll be as quick as he needs to because he barely had any practice. And of course, there's only one practice session in a sprint weekend, so he's lost all of that and is going to have to come into this pretty much all completely fresh. So I think there might be problems for Lance Stroll. I think Lance Stroll will probably start near the bottom there in the relegation zones. I reckon the Alfa Romeos of the show, and Bottas will probably be there and thereabouts, and of course Logan Sargent, and possibly the likes of one of the Alpines, perhaps I'm going to say Ocon.
Okay.
That's my bottom 5. I think that's what I'm going to go with.
Yes, well, off the back of practice one, we didn't see any indicative times from the McLarens. Unfortunately, they decided to use the majority of that practice session, or the entirety, rather, of that practice session to get ready for the race tomorrow during the sprint race, of course, as well as the race on Sunday.
Yes, so you're joining us now for round 19 in Austin, Texas, in the United States for this 2023 season here for Formula One. Of course, it is one of the 3 American races that we have. We still have Mexico, Brazil, Las Vegas, and then Abu Dhabi for the rest of the season. The track distance is 5.5 kilometers, full throttle sped at 57.8%. And the track record was
132.0. Top speed being a 344 kilometers an hour, 214.1 miles an hour, seeing as we are in the US. The elevation is 30 meters. And looking at our tire compounds for this weekend, it is the C4, the C3, and the C2 compound, one step up from last weekend out in Qatar. But it does seem to be holding up a little bit better on the circuit.
Indeed, and we've got more people joining us now in the comments here, of course, as we get this race week going. Lindiwe is here back again saying hello everybody. Well, hello to you as well. Pureblood obviously here saying let's go. And F123 back here as well saying who do you think will go in Q1? Well, we've already given our predictions for that, so you guys let us know in the comments who do you think is going to drop out.
It's a lot hotter than the practice session earlier on.
35 degrees.
35 degrees Celsius now, air temperature, 42 degrees track temperature, so more close to what we had in Qatar. But the track surface is different. Hopefully the tires handle this circuit a little bit better with more traditional curbs. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens around here. Yeah, let's see what's going to happen. As we have Lindiwe there in the comments saying, I just remembered quali when I saw the live pop up. Nearly forgot. Well, glad you're here. It is quite late, but glad to have all of you guys alongside with us for this session.
Exactly. As I said, it's sprint weekend. So we're going to have another one of these sessions pretty much tomorrow, just a slightly shorter format.
And slightly later.
Yes, and it will be, well, the sprint shootout
race,
is actually earlier and the sprint race is later on. But yes, so everybody's saying hello to everybody. Great to see you. Mpumelelo is also here in the comments. Great to have you join us alongside. And also, guys, let us know where you're tuning in from, where you're watching, and who you're backing for this weekend. And also, otherwise, just let us know if you have any questions, be sure to ask them. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, we've got obviously Verstappen is the Drivers' Championship winner with 433 points already. He still can get more. Perez is currently second, 224, but Hamilton's hot on his heels, as is Alonso, 194 and 183, respectively. The 2 Ferraris in 5th and 6th. Norris in 7th, who could also climb quite quickly. Russell in 8th. Piastri in 9th, who could also, again, maybe get a few points before the end of the season, though he's going to struggle to get him in near 7th or 6th. I think he's had a bit of a late start to his points gathering.
Looking at the Constructors' Championship, though, of course, Red Bull have rarely run away with that. Mercedes, though, sitting in second with 326 points. You have to think that they are safe now over Ferrari with 5 races to go left of the season. Aston Martin, 230 points in 4th. And then we know, though, that McLaren are really hot on their heels for that 4th position in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be very difficult for Aston Martin to try and put up with that, because I think they're going to be really going to struggle, especially with the likes of Lance Stroll, who's been underperforming, and Alonso can't do it enough. Yeah. So looking at that green helmet of Charles Leclerc, it is very green. It is very green.
Football inspired in the middle of the Rugby World Championship. Interesting.
Yeah, it is very odd. But nonetheless, Andrew here saying in the comments, I quite like this late night race time for Europe. At least I don't miss anything because of work. Well, glad you like it. I prefer it during the day personally. And then saying, lucky I'm a night owl in the next couple of races being so late in Europe. Indeed, they are going to be quite late for most of us who are this side of the world. And the F123 saying, I think Stroll, Bottas, Sargent. You said Bottas twice, mate. You're saying those 3 and Ocon. Yes. So you got 4 there. You've got to give us a 5th because you said Bottas twice there. I don't think Bottas is going to be that harshly done by. But we are about to get going with the green light. So what is going to happen is I will quickly start our countdown here, of course, to tell you. As we do now see drivers leaving the pits. Our timer just seems maybe a bit, I think 50
slightly
delayed, yeah.
But we do have, I think that is Logan Sargent leaving the pits first. Just looking at some more information, there's of course 20 turns around the circuit. The top speed around here is 336 kilometers an hour. It's a medium downforce circuit, and the tire wear is extremely high. We've seen it in the past. It's quite high as you do go around the surface. It's got a very high abrasion or highly abrasive surface, as we're now seeing a whole bunch of other drivers leaving the pits. We've got both McLarens and both Ferraris leaving there now, as we see the driver of Nico Hulkenberg sitting in his car. That newly upgraded Haas is certainly looking to be a more competitive car this race weekend. Could he get his car a little bit higher up and possibly out of Q2 this race weekend? I think that would be a win for Haas this weekend at their home race.
Yeah, indeed. I think that's exactly it. So we're going to have a look at the timing boards, which are getting going. So we've got Logan Sargent, as we says, in his home race, leading everybody out. What sort of things could he do here? All eyes will be on these McLarens, of course, who did not have any practice in the first session of the day. So we're going to see what they can do.
Well, they had practice, but they had no qualifying.
Yeah. No qualifying sims. Yes. So we'll have to see if they are going to be as quick as we hope they will be. And that's why Norris is one of those that's the option in terms of
I think they're relatively expected to be quite high up today. I think possibly even pole fighters. I think there could be quite a few drivers fighting for pole position here today.
Well, let us know in the comments, guys. We're going to be very interested to see what people think will happen. Just trying to go back to the comments quickly. Just going there. There we go. I'm on the comments now. So just going to see who's here in the comments section. Great.
Yes, and a lot more of you have joined us now, so thank you very much for that.
TC
We're
back
really
in the comments.
ramping up, though, for this to get going. What has TC said,
He's just said, come on, Lewis, as per usual. And Lindy is saying, fingers crossed for Haas to get to Q2. Home race, of course, for them. Yes, as Logan Sargent gets going, he's starting our first hot lap of the day. And, of course, there will be about 15 minutes and 20 seconds odd remaining of the session.
Pureblood saying that McLaren have been sandbagging. Well, they did bring upgrades this race weekend, so I think they just wanted to get to the bottom of their upgrades before they went out and did any quali runs. As we are now seeing Logan Sargent starting his first qualifying lap of the race weekend. He, of course, has another opportunity tomorrow during the sprint shootout, but he at least gets the first opportunity now to drive the car in anger around one of his home circuits. He gets 3 this year.
And hopefully stays out of a wall or gravel or otherwise.
Yes, Mark is hoping for a clean qualifying session this afternoon, as Logan Sargent's fastest first sector has been taken away by Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, Valtteri Bottas going around relatively quickly, setting some more purple sectors as well, as Norris now sets the first fastest sector, 25.8. It's quite a bit quicker than some of the other drivers there. So it's great to see, although not that much quicker than Bottas, I suppose, as Zhou now takes the second sector. Let's see if anybody else can take it away.
Charles Leclerc takes that fastest first sector now. He is certainly flying out there on circuit. Max Verstappen, he's still in the pits at the moment, Mark.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a late start for Red Bull. He doesn't have to stress too much about this sort of things anymore. He's got everything under the bag. So he will be fine. So just noting, Leclerc's got that first purple sector.
Those tyres that Leclerc is on is 4 laps old. No, sorry, that's Gasly. Leclerc's tyres are 8 laps old.
Sure.
Logan
Logan Sargent straight back into the pits, does not finish his lap, so clearly something's not right with regards to his car. Well, I think he was quite far off the pace already, so I think they decided to dive off into the pits anyway. So Bottas currently leads at 136.8. Zhou, Gasly, Ocon follow that. Leclerc's about to cross the line very, very shortly, as is...
He comes through the last couple of corners.
Norris, though, first.
Yes.
See where Norris goes.
Let's see what Norris puts in as he comes across the line. Where does he put himself? He goes fastest, of course, with 136.6. That's not as fast as we saw from Max Verstappen and the other drivers, but it is a lot hotter.
I'll say it is very hot as now Leclerc crosses the line. Where does he put himself? He should move into first. He's got 2 purple sectors there. He does.
130. Very close, though. 0.018.
I'll say very, very close times between everybody in the top there.
Perez starts his first flying lap. Now, Max Verstappen is also out on track, though, starting his first out lap. What will they be able to do in retaliation to the lap of Charles Leclerc? Where does Carlos Sainz put himself? He finishes up only in 5th mark, 137.2.
Yeah, very, very slow lap there from Carlos Sainz. That will not be quick enough to get into the next session, so he needs to go and do another one.
Sergio Perez out on track, though, looking very...
slow. That's what he's looking like.
But looking at least like his balance is a lot better. So hopefully we'll be able to ramp it up a bit near the end of the session.
I don't care too much about how the car looks on track. At the end of the day, times are what's so important. And Sergio Perez is going around relatively slowly right now.
Missed the apex there into turn 11. It's very different to to turn 1 where you can miss that apex, but in turn 11 you really do have to hug it there, sometimes even cut it as much as possible to gain some extra lap time. Looking at some of the other times out there now, Piastri as well has been able to put himself into third, much better for himself than the first session in practice. 136.8 was his time. As Pureblood said, McLaren was sandbagging. Well, they're putting on some.
Well, we have no idea what McLaren were doing because they didn't have soft tyres. They didn't do a single qualifying attempt in in practice 1, so we have no idea what we could expect from them. So we're only seeing them do it now, as Perez has set a purple sector in sector 2 at least.
And he finishes his lap with a 136.68. So once again, in the 136.6s, it is so close between those top 4.
And F123 saying, in my opinion, some of the sprint and qualifying sessions have been more exciting than some of the races. Well, I don't think that's a doubt. I think many of the sessions in qualifying have been more exciting than the races themselves. That's not anything against the races, it's just that we do see such close racing in the qualifying session in terms of who can get the fastest time, as we do see Adrian Newey there, of course, who has engineered the Red Bull cars into getting that most of the time. Lewis Hamilton now starting a fast lap, sorry.
Verstappen has gone fastest in the first sector, personal best in the middle sector with a purple mini sector. He's coming through the final sector now, through the last two corners now. And what can he do as he approaches that finish line, waiting for that lap time to be put on the board? Lewis Hamilton having a little bit of a snap though into turn 1. Where does Max Verstappen go? He goes fastest with a 136.4.
Indeed, and Melanie here saying, yo, well, welcome to the stream, Melanie. And again, guys, let us know where you're watching from and also what you think is going to happen in the session. We've got just under about 10.5 minutes left. Lewis Hamilton starting his hot lap. He's right next to Charles Leclerc's time. And of course, that will be Max Verstappen's time as well very shortly. So let's see what he can do. Hamilton's is tipped to do quite well this race weekend.
Yes, I've been really saying that he's going to be doing quite well. He's getting a little bit of traffic though in the way. Luckily, at least getting out the way of them. What can he do through the middle sector though? I see a slight purple mini sector through the final sector, but is he doing enough to match Max Verstappen at the moment?
I think he'll be very near the top, but I don't think he's going to be anywhere close to Max Verstappen's time. I reckon about 2.3 seconds away.
His teammate, though, George Russell, is improving on his times, except through the middle sector.
There you go. Hamilton crosses the line. I said about 0.27 seconds behind Max Verstappen. He sits now in 5th position after setting that first lap for himself. A 136.7.
Don't know if these tyres are brand new for Lewis Hamilton. They don't have.
He has a big
that's
correction.
also why he has a big correction in the last 2 corners. As we see, of course, our video feed is slightly delayed to our telemetry on our screens, but still, Max Verstappen, for now, being able to clinch onto first place.
Yeah, it's exactly that. So let's see if we're going to lose any big names there.
Slide from George Russell. He puts himself up into 3rd, though. Sorry, Mark. But at least another driver, all within 0.1 of Max Verstappen. There's 4 drivers, all within 0.1 of each other.
Indeed, watching a replay here of Lewis Hamilton start his hot lap, or maybe end his hot lap.
When he started his hot lap, he was wide into turn 1. That's also why he lost some time. So he certainly has quite a lot of time in hand to make up on his next lap.
And Lindiwe just letting us know that Stroll still has that brake problem. Not sure if he will exit Q1. Well, I did say just before we started the session we're going to have a bit of a problem here. Watching a replay for Lance Stroll, just noting they're just trying to take those tires off. Lots of
it's brake dust.
Yeah.
So they're still having issues with the brakes on that car. Nico Hülkenberg fastest through the middle sector, Mark. He's setting the timing boards alight now. Where can he finish up this lap? He goes fastest overall with a 136.2.
Yeah, I think you're going to see these times change the whole time. Yeah.
I think he's on a brand new set of tires, and the track is evolving quite quickly out there.
Yeah, so we're going to see these times tumble as we go through the remainder of the session.
He sets the fastest first sector now.
Yeah, so I think we're going to say, as I say, these times tumble throughout the session. We see a little bit of a drift from Hülkenberg as he finished up that lap. But I'm sure we're going to see most of the big names get through. But what are the possible big names that might not get through the session, Reece?
Yes, just watching now where Gasly finishes.
Well, who's the big name that might not get through the session?
Sorry, I was listening to commentary. But the big name, well, Stroll, of course, is not a surprise. Sainz is not doing well. I think because people are improving, that's maybe why Sainz is dropping down. But he hasn't been able to replicate what Leclerc's doing this race weekend.
No, he's on an outlap right now. Let's see what he can do as Ricciardo moves himself into 14th. Not the best lap from him. Gasly, of course, finishing up his lap. Now, where does he go fastest? At 136.1. So almost into the 135s already.
We should get into the 135s quite soon. I don't know if we are going to get any big names. Maybe like an Alonso or... But yeah, I don't think anyone else.
Well, Stroll's now crossed the line at 136.6. And track time has been deleted for Sargent, and Alonso also crosses the line. He's all the way down in 13th, though, so really not good from him. He needs to improve quite dramatically. His teammate, Lance Stroll, actually doing better at this point. Aston Martin engineers not very chuffed with that, with those 2 lap times there from both of their drivers, so hopefully they can improve upon that. As we now see, I think this is Sainz starting his hot lap now as well.
Yes, this does look like Sainz starting his hot lap. What can he do? He needs to pick up the pace a little bit, otherwise he's in trouble a bit. But as I say that, he set the fastest first sector now overall. Let's see how he does through the first sector. He also compromises that apex there. It is such a bumpy circuit though here, Mark. You can just see how your suspension has to be set up perfectly to be able to handle running over these curbs as you go through that Maggots and Beckett's inspired sector. It's quite bumpy through there. And as I say, he's 0.1 up in the first sector.
Almost 0.2, which is quite dramatic, of course. So let's see what he can do in the second sector. He's got a purple mini sector and lots of personal bests. We might see the new fastest lap of the day from the Ferrari driver of Carlos Sainz.
You would expect it after this first and second sector that he's done. He does now set that purple sector alight now as well.
Yeah, so first and second sectors are purple in favor of Carlos Sainz. Hopefully he can hold it all together in the final sector as well. And yeah, let's see as he's approaching the third corner, third to last corner, the second to last corner. Now lots of traffic ahead of him, but hopefully it should get out of the way as they're all starting their hot laps. And let's see if anybody can match Carlos Sainz's times.
Goes fastest now overall with the 136.119, getting so close to that 135 mark. Could Carlos Sainz be the first one to break it? Yes, he does with a 135.8. How's that for timing?
I must say, and very, very quick. That is almost a whole 0.3 seconds quicker than his teammates. So there's lots of time to make up. I think Sainz might be safe now for the session. He could probably get back to the pits.
TC says that Sainz needs to listen to Smooth Operator before qualifying.
Well, I think he has.
That's why he's done so well.
Yeah, so
I really do like his helmet as well for this race weekend. Waiting though for the likes of Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, and Lando Norris to set some lap times now.
Yeah, right now we see Daniel Ricciardo all the way down in 18th, and Logan Sargent is without a time. So the home race for Logan Sargent, the American, has currently not got a time behind his name. So he needs to get out of the pits as soon as possible so he can go and do that.
Verstappen has started an out lap now. He's gone out on a brand new set of tyres, I'm hearing. So just watching a replay of Carlos Sainz does seem... Oh, it's just so beautifully balanced through there. That car rides those curbs so well. And that's, I think, why he's able to find some pace now. They were struggling with their balance of their suspension through practice. They were porpoising quite a bit down the back straights. It still is porpoising a little bit, but it looks like a lot more comfortable than it was through that practice session earlier.
Yeah, so it's actually looking very, very good, the Ferrari around here today. So we're going to see what Max Verstappen can do in response to that. He's currently, as Reece says, on his out lap. Lots of people in the pits getting ready to go and do their final laps for this session. And it's going to, of course, come down to the wire yet again. Just less than 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the session. So
he looks like Luigi in that red car, Mark.
He does, actually, rather. It looks like Luigi in like Mario Kart, basically. It is a very green helmet. I will say that much. Verstappen is on the radio. Reece, what's he saying?
Verstappen is being told on the radio what the bubble is for your drop-off time. So 136.4 is your drop-off point, which is a massive amount of track evolution at the moment, because the elimination zone right now is a 136.9 with Tsunoda. So that just shows you how much people are going to improve, like by over half a second in the next few minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly that. So 3 minutes left of the session. Who's going to drop out? These are the big questions. Let us know in the comment sections.
F123 saying it's going to be Stroll.
Yeah, everyone having a go at Stroll. It's always the usual. So let us know very quickly, guys, who's dropping out of the session. Nadal here saying, really hoping Perez can pull a good time off. Of course, Perez is all the way down in 11th right now, as is Hamilton in 12th.
Sainz thinks he's safe. He's come into the pits, so that's his qualifying one session over and done. As
Verstappen's going to have to put up with a lot of
He's got
traffic.
A lot of traffic. Yes, that's true. Hopefully no one gets in his way. Hopefully they all get told on the radio that there's someone coming out.
Well, he's got a first sector that's purple, so clearly everyone's got out of the way nicely for him. Indeed, very well done by everybody. Yeah, we're seeing a very, very quick Red Bull, and you can see why he is the winner for the season in both Constructor and Drivers' Championships, because he's almost up a whole 0.3 seconds on Sainz's time. Ridiculous for Max Verstappen. Absolutely ridiculous.
And he has had to weave through a little bit of traffic, but Max seems to deal with it quite well out on circuit. He's coming now through the middle sector. Not purple through there, but he does have some purple mini sectors. He's not the fastest through there. We do know that. He does much prefer the final sector.
But I said Max Verstappen throughout the entire season always compromises in the second sector. The third sector and first sector, though, where he always goes quickest. So let's see what he can do in this third sector. What can he do in respect to Sainz's time, which currently leads our session with a 135.8, the only 135 of the session so far, though I think Max Verstappen is still up 0.13 seconds on Sainz's time. Should beat it as he comes around the final corner, and he goes.
That is way faster. 135.3 compared to Carlos Sainz's 135.8. Max Verstappen is completely on fire out there on track. Anki Manchi just saying, I heard a rumor on Twitter saying that if Sergio Perez doesn't get P2 in the Drivers' Championship, Daniel Ricciardo will get his seat. There is certainly a lot of rumors going around that Sergio Perez has been given an ultimatum as to what he has to do next year. But Sergio Perez has put himself now into third place with a 135.9.
Yeah, as I say, we are ramping up towards the end of the session. We're in the last minutes here, so everybody's going around on their final laps. Hamilton has set the middle sector as purple. He's done very well in the first sector. This could be quicker than Max Verstappen's time if he doesn't stuff it up. We've seen from Hamilton, he's been brilliant all day. But the problem is that he keeps making small mistakes that cost him time. But otherwise, he seems to be up on times. Where will he finish as he comes round the final corner now? And he's going to be down on the main straight now. We're just waiting on his time. Let's see what his time will do. It could be quicker than Verstappen. It could be a very, very good time from Hamilton. Where does he go? He does.
Brilliant. 135.
My word.
That's much faster than Verstappen's time even. What have I been saying?
Yeah, he didn't make mistakes.
As
I said, the moment that Hamilton had a clean lap, he was going to go very, very quick. And he did. 0.25 seconds quicker than Max Verstappen's time, which we didn't think was going to get beaten this session. So brilliant from Lewis Hamilton there, and giving Mercedes a very good platform for the next session. Yeah, looking now at Alex Albon, who's also about to cross the line now. Where did he finish? 9th. So he's safe right now. Zhou, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Tsunoda, and Alonso are not safe. Where's Alonso going to finish, as Alonso needs to cross the line shortly? He starts his lap just in time.
He's done good in the first sector, 25.8. That's not far off of Lewis Hamilton. Norris goes up into second now ahead of Max Verstappen with a 135.1. You have to think now this track has evolved quite a lot in the last minute.
Piastri is in danger. Alonso is in danger. So they're finishing up their laps as Norris goes second fastest at 135.1, as you say. So I'm just watching now to see what's going to happen with the remaining drivers here as
Oscar Piastri is going around relatively well in the first and second sector. He should come across the line and be safe. What does he do now? He comes through the last sector. Now, Zhou Guanyu puts himself up into 6th, though. That's phenomenal. Kevin Magnussen takes that away from him, though. Where does Piastri finish?
Very worried about Alonso and Piastri. Let's see where they do go. Piastri now crosses the line. Where will he put himself? Will he get himself out of Q1? He goes into 10th. He should be safe.
I'm certainly hoping
Alonso.
What does Alonso do now? He comes in through that final sector now, not doing as well in the second and final sector.
And Albon is now in the drop zone. As Tsunoda's gone all the way up into 5th. Brilliant from him. Alonso now crosses the line. Where does he put himself?
Alonso's out. He's 17th.
Both Aston Martins are out. The Aston Martins are going to be very disappointed. A shocking Q1 session for them. Alonso and Stroll both out, as is Alex Albon and Logan. Well, actually, Alex Albon still crossing the line right now. Let's see where he finishes. And also Logan Sargent, I think, finishing up now. Let's see where they all finish.
Albon's not improving. He stays where he is.
Sargent's done. Albon is done as well. So those are our bottom 5, ladies and gentlemen. It's Hulkenberg, Alonso, Albon, Stroll, and Sargent. Alonso, the big disappointment there, as is also Albon, I think. We were expecting maybe a little bit more from him, but Williams clearly not as quick as we wanted them to be. Very disappointing for Alonso, I think.
I'm surprised at the difference between Ricciardo and Tsunoda. Aston Martin mechanics looking completely despondent there, looking really upset. They've had a long afternoon of trying to fix Stroll's car. They managed to get it back out and had a horrific qualifying session after bringing upgrades this weekend as well.
Yeah, so really not a good day at the office at all for both Aston Martin drivers. 19th and 17th. Terrible.
I agree with TC just saying, what has happened to Aston Martin?
Not enough upgrades.
Off the back of a quick beginning of the season, of course, I agree. Not enough upgrades, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, they started with a really good car, but everybody caught on very quickly, and they just didn't manage to improve the car enough as everybody else. It's learning curves for Aston Martin. They're still young in terms of being a big team,
Yes.
so they need to grow from this, and they need to learn for next season that they need to keep their updates in line with everybody else. And
It's fine.
try and
Next
keep
year
it up.
they'll bring a Red Bull V2.
True.
So it should be fine.
It's exactly that. So, unfortunately, we have lost Logan Sargent in 20th in his home Grand Prix. Terrible for him. Alex Albon shaking his head. He's
Disappointed
not
to have
happy.
him out. Very concerned about Nico Hulkenberg. He normally has a good qualifying session. He finishes down on 16th. He's also out.
Well, Daniel Ricciardo just safe there in
Yes.
15th. Also, Russell only just safe in 14th. So that could have been very
That's
interesting as well.
So polar opposites to his teammates up in pole at the moment. And Hulkenberg being told he's been knocked out, and he gives a big expletive on the radio. Yeah, disappointed, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, so I'm concerned a little bit about Daniel Ricciardo and Russell for the next session, as well as Piastri, who didn't go around that quickly, if we're honest, in Q1 here. So hopefully they do speed up quite a lot. Logan Sargent saying that was terrible, man. Really not happy at all about his
He's far
attempt.
off of the pace. Like,
He is well off the pace.
I
Yeah, looking at
understand
the
that
time.
Stroll is struggling in that car, but Sargent is still 0.3 down on everyone else.
Oh, there you go. You see a moment from Logan Sargent. That's why he lost so much time. It's literally, it's not very good from him at all. And then watching Alexander Albon, he gets a bit of a moment going into turn 1. That's what cost him time. Oh, he went so wide.
I don't understand, though, unfortunately. This car's been so fast all season around medium and fast circuits. So it's concerning that they seem to lose some of that momentum here.
Indeed, and we're seeing Fernando Alonso here as well as just trying to make his way back to the pits, essentially. We will get practice 2 going in just a little bit, but of course that is Q1 now ended. Not quite sure why it's still going up. I think it's because, we've got a script that goes the opposite way. I'm not quite sure how to stop that. Nonetheless.
Count up when done. Untick that.
Where's...
Below?
Oh, there.
Stop.
Yes,
there we
indeed.
go.
So,
Sorry, just fixing something.
No problem.
As Fernando Alonso is wheeled back into the pits. Disappointing day for the 2 Aston Martins, unfortunately. But it just means that they have to come back next weekend. Or at least they get another opportunity tomorrow to sort out their qualifying pace. But can they fix these issues before tomorrow?
No. Well, maybe, but I don't know. It's going to be a very, very difficult one, of course, for Aston Martin. But nonetheless, it's very disappointing right now in terms of where they've gone. We really would have hoped for more from them. Looking at that Ferris wheel, just out of curiosity, it's motoring. It's like of course, there's quite a famous wheel there in the Circuit of the Americas. It is like a Formula 1 car. It is motoring through.
You're gonna get whiplash if you go in that.
It is really motoring. I'm not sure it's supposed to go that quickly. Just on a complete side note, but nonetheless, it's a bit of an odd one. It's got a bit of problems going on. Maybe Logan Sargent had something to do with that, and it's just having a bit of a malfunction, as the season has pretty much also been more or less a big malfunction for him as well. He's also once again 20th. I mean, it's shocking, really.
I'm quite surprised Daniel Ricciardo is so far off the pace of Yuki Tsunoda. Possibly he just got caught out in that last sector or last bit of qualifying. But I'm certainly hoping he's going to be able to get that pace up a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be watching that very carefully in terms of what can Ricciardo do compared to his teammate Tsunoda, who finished in 5th in that first session. So very good from him, but we shouldn't see them that separate. So, of course, it's the first Grand Prix back for Ricciardo, but we do expect a little bit more from him. Hopefully he will get that in Q2. Going to the comments here, Lindy was saying, curious question. If Perez loses his seat sometime in 2024, do you think that he would go to Williams? At the moment, Williams is kind of stuck with Sargent because they don't have any serious options on the table. Well, they do, actually.
Mick Schumacher.
There was a Mick Schumacher waiting in the wings.
But he's possibly going to World Endurance Championship next year with Alpine.
Boring. So we're going to go here quickly to our script, as we do now have the start of Q2. So what's going to happen in Q2, guys? Let us know. And of course, we're going to go and quickly end that poll for Q1. And let's start the new poll here and say who will top Q2.
I do agree with TC's comments there saying Daniel Ricciardo is a little bit rusty, perhaps. You would expect him to be after not being in the car for over 5 races. It's been difficult for him, I'm sure, as well with his fitness, because you can't really do too much fitness in terms of working out when you've got a broken wrist. So hopefully he'll be able to bounce back in this Q2 session, but let's wait and see what happens, as we're seeing all of the drivers now leaving the pits and getting ready to go out on their outlaps. Lewis Hamilton on a scrub set of tyres, not a brand new set, so they feel that they've got enough pace in hand to be able to send him out on a used set of softs.
Indeed. So we have that poll up, guys. Go and participate in it. Let us know who do you think is going to top Q2 here. We've got Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, and other as your options. Of course, I use the other pretty much for the Ferrari drivers. I think they're also going to be right there and thereabouts. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see who we're going to lose. I reckon we've lost big names in every Q2 for most of the season. Who do you think is the big name that we're going to lose? Of course, we've already lost Alonso in Q1, but who's going to be lost in Q2?
Russell do?
I know, I'm worried about Russell as well. And I'm actually worried about Piastri. I think Piastri was quite slow in Q1, and I think he needs to really find some pace here. So, of course, the Ferraris of Charles Leclerc and Sainz are leading us out here. They're at the front of the grid in terms of the out laps. They will get our first laps going for this session. Very keen to see what they can do. They were actually quite quick in Q1. Sainz going so well near the end of that session that he didn't bother going back out with everybody else, and he was perfectly safe for that. So maybe he can find some more time.
Yes, just watching now Max Verstappen leaving the pits and going around the first few corners of the Circuit of the Americas track here in Austin, Texas. It is blisteringly hot. If you're just joining us now for this live stream of the qualifying, we are in Q2, and it is, as I said, blisteringly hot. Track temperature is set at around 33 degrees or 34 degrees Celsius.
No, track temperature is more than that. It's 40.
Sorry, no, air temperature I meant is 34 degrees Celsius. Track temperature is 42, I think it was.
It was, but it'll probably be hotter now, of course, with all the cars going out. But now we do have the start of our first fast laps for Q2. Leclerc and Sainz starting at Hamilton behind them, followed by Russell. Then the two McLarens, Norris and Piastri as well. So let's see what Leclerc is doing. Is he lighting up anything? He's got purple sectors there, and he sets the first fastest middle sector, first sector, of course. Yes. He is the first one doing it. Can Sainz beat him as he comes towards the end of that sector? Will Sainz go quicker than his teammate? He seems to be going.
No, he doesn't.
It's exactly the same.
Is it?
It's exactly the same.
That's incredible. To the millisecond. 25.724 between both of those drivers out there on track.
Hamilton now, though, takes that first sector away from both of them at 25.689.
And that's on a scrub set of tyres. I think the Ferraris were both on a brand new set.
I don't think they were.
I thought they looked shiny when they left the pits.
Well, so we'll have to find out. As Russell now steals that first sector away from his teammate Hamilton. So the first sector is going everywhere.
Coming back into the party.
And now it's Norris has taken it. So all going all over the place. Leclerc's got that second sector, but let's see if Sainz can take it away from him. Also, Sainz looks like he's going to take it away from him.
And Verstappen's starting his next hot lap. So
yeah, it's everywhere.
To play for still. Magnussen is going very fast through the first sector, 25.725. So almost matching the Ferraris. Norris now takes the fastest first sector.
A while ago, yeah. So Norris has already had that first sector. Let's see if he can get that second sector now. Of course, Hamilton's taken it.
In purple mini sectors. He takes that purple
sector. There you go. Sorry.
Now.
The first lap time at 1:35.8 from Leclerc.
Fast.
Let's see if people can beat that. That's going to be a quick time for people to beat.
It's going to evolve. We could get into the 1:34s before the end of the session. We could
slow from Sainz.
Yeah, that is relatively so. 1:35.8.
1:36.2.
Sorry, 1:36.2. Sorry.
Well, let's see what Hamilton can do. Hamilton goes faster now, 1:35.7, just quicker than the Ferrari Charles Leclerc. 0.1 seconds is the difference. Norris is also following them, as is Russell. Where does Russell finish up? Russell goes quickest now, 1:35.7. Norris is also chasing them. He crosses the line.
Close, though.
Do we reckon Norris goes quickest? 3, 2, 1. He doesn't. Fourth. It was a bit of a slow one from Norris there. He'd gone quickly in the first couple of sectors, but I think he lost time in that third sector. He did. Look at that, 32.0 compared to the 31.
Piastri goes fastest now with 1:35.5. Piastri now really hooking himself up around the circuit. Where does Max Verstappen go? He's now going through the final sector, through the final corner. He comes now across the line. Where does he put himself? He goes I'm waiting for this to tick around. He goes fastest now with a 1:35.491.
Well, it's not that much quicker than Oscar
No.
Piastri, just 0.085. So very, very close between the two of them. They're a little bit in a league of their own, as Russell's then 0.2 seconds behind Verstappen's time. So interesting, we've got Verstappen and Piastri who've gone quickest pretty much. Russell and Hamilton in the next band, and then Leclerc and Bottas, funny enough, as Gasly now goes around third fastest with a first fastest sector as well. So very, very good from the Alpine driver. Let's see what they can do. Ricciardo now also finishing up his lap. Where does he finish? It's quite important that he does well here. 8th position. He gets the fastest third sector, though. So
do you know what's interesting, though, for Max Verstappen's fastest lap time, Mark?
No purple sectors.
Yes. Very, very interesting. But it just means he is so consistent throughout all of them.
And Tsunoda now beats his teammate Ricciardo. So Tsunoda now in 6th. Ricciardo pushes down into 9th. Everybody has finished laps except for the likes of Norris, Perez, and Ocon, as Norris had his lap time deleted.
And Perez is on a lap at the moment. He finishes up. Or was that someone else that finished
Somebody
up?
else has finished up.
Sorry,
that was Ocon. Ocon has moved up into all the way in 3rd. Brilliant from Ocon.
Perez now comes across the line. He only goes in 5th.
Well, these two Alpines are up in 3rd and 4th. Brilliant from them, both of them.
I was expecting to at least lose an Alpine in Quali 1, but interesting to see that we haven't lost either of them yet.
Yeah, indeed. Very, very quick from both Alpines, and I didn't think we were going to see that today, but very, very good from them. And Norris, of course, with that lap time deleted, is the only driver who's yet to set a time. He was quite high up there. It wasn't as high as his teammate Piastri, but unfortunately, he's going to have to go and do another attempt. Just 8 minutes left of the session. And we will then have our results for Q2. The American fans, lots of Mexican fans, of course, for Sergio Perez. Not too far away, of course, Texas borders Mexico. So lots of Mexican fans have made their way to Austin, Texas.
And it is also the next Grand Prix on the calendar. Next weekend, we have the Mexican Grand Prix, where I'm sure it is going to be an incredible reception for Sergio Perez, who is so loved in the country of Mexico, of course, where he's from.
Indeed. So now we're seeing Zhou and Bottas finishing up some laps. I think they're finishing up laps rather than starting. Or maybe they're coming back into the pits. Everybody, I think, making their way back to the pit stops before they have one more attempt before the end of the session. Watching Carlos Sainz, where he lost a little bit of time,
he got a little bit of traffic. Traffic of Tsunoda, who he says didn't get out of the way into turn 15 and forced him off line. He should be more careful. We should flag that. And then they say back to him, yeah, we're flagging it. So pretty much just snitching on Yuki Tsunoda to the FIA.
Yeah, well, to be fair, you have to at some point.
Yes, exactly.
So lots of people making their way back to the pits. Pretty much nobody out on track, with the exception of Perez and Ocon at the moment. But I think they're also just getting back to the pits after their attempts. And then we'll have everybody in the pits here getting ready and geared up for the last bit of Q2 here. What do you think is going to happen? Because currently we have, I think, Sainz, Norris right at the bottom there.
Well, I think Norris is going to find a lot more pace out there. I think if Piastri is able to find pace, he should certainly be able to find pace out there. Who else? I think Hamilton could still have quite a lot of lap time in hand. Yeah, I think it's still all to fight for in this Q2. Who do we think is going to drop out, though? That is the question.
I think we're going to lose both Alfa Romeos. We're going to lose Kevin Magnussen. I think we are going to lose Ricciardo. And in 10th, I'm going to say a big name. I'm going to say we're going to lose...
Sainz?
Nah, I don't think we'll lose Sainz. I think we'll lose Leclerc.
The bigger name than Sainz. I'm saying Sainz. So one of the Ferraris, I think, may drop out at the end of the session. Even though they do have some good lap time in hand, that top 8 is super competitive right now.
Yeah, I also think it's very competitive there. So,
and especially if you get caught out on your lap, you could really get pushed on the back foot.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, Norris with that deleted lap time is currently sitting at the bottom there in 15th. Sainz in 14th. Zhou 13th. Magnussen 12th. Ricciardo in 11th. Those are our 5 drivers currently dropping out, of course. We still have 5.5 minutes left of the session. Everyone waiting to get going, getting the cars all ready. As we do see some cars making their way out. As the 2 Ferraris making their way out first. Dangerous move to send them out first, as we have seen the times change quite dramatically throughout the session. So let's see what the Ferraris can do.
Maybe just trying to maximize their potential with a clean circuit, at least with no traffic out there to interrupt their lap times. But it is a bit of a tricky one. We've seen the amount of, well, I want to say development, but evolution around this circuit between 2 lap times. It's incredible how quickly it's evolves around here. Just watching, sorry, with Lando Norris, he got confused in the one corner and got completely put off. As you can see him slide through there, really almost sent him into the gravel.
So, TC here saying both Ferraris will make P9 and P10, lol. That'll be interesting. F123 is telling us that Ricciardo, Zhou, Kevin Magnussen, Bottas, and Leclerc will drop out. That's the same things as I said. It's exactly the same as I said. I'm super excited about the Oscar's performance from Percy says. So, let's see if Oscar Piastri can improve upon that time. He's very, very close to Max Verstappen's time right at the top there. We're heading into the last 4 minutes here. Everybody's going to start making their way out into the grid as we see the tyres are fresh here for Oscar Piastri.
Yes.
So let's see what he can do. It's going to be very interesting. Lots of McLaren fans very keen to see what they can do. Leclerc and Sainz coming round, of course. Leclerc now entering sector 3, getting ready to start his lap as all the other cars now make their way out to start the session. I think Ferrari have been brave here, potentially stupid, sending their cars out much earlier than everybody else.
Maybe they've been smart. Maybe they put them out with multiple laps of fuel on board so they can do 2 push laps, possibly.
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting because it's very hot out there. You don't want to waste these tires too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ferrari playing a dangerous game here, I think. But let's see if it pays off.
And you also have to remember, the tires that you set your fastest lap on in Q2 is the one that you start your race on.
Q2.
Yes. Always has been.
Well, let's see what we can do here with regards to the lap times here. It's going to be very interesting. That's probably why you see Piastri in a brand new set of tires here of the softs. Let's see if he can do quite well here. Carlos Sainz ramping up to start his lap. He starts now going down the main start finish straight, following his teammate Leclerc, who's already into the Maggots and Beckett's inspired section of the first sector here in the Circuit of the Americas.
Yes, and he does set that fastest first sector time now. Looking quite competitive through there. 25.50 through that first sector. Our normal times through there are about 25.7, 25.6.
I'm confused as to why it's a purple sector when Hamilton's gone through the first sector quicker than Leclerc.
Has he?
Well, he has previously. A 25.502 was Hamilton's. Leclerc's is a 25.503.
Well,
but now
either way,
Sainz
it
beats
does
it
get taken by Sainz, as you allude to.
with a 25.497. So Sainz going around a little bit quicker than his teammate Leclerc. Leclerc now having to put up with traffic. Hopefully, this is the problem I also think that Ferrari was going to have is that traffic was going to cause an issue.
Everyone's on their outlap, so you're running out of sync, unfortunately. Yeah, it will have to.
He's got a second purple sector though from Leclerc, so he's going around quite well so far. It should be the new fastest lap as he enters the third sector. And his teammate Sainz, what can he do as he ends up
matching him? To be honest, he's setting yellows and 2 green.
Well, let's just confirm that as Sainz now crossed the line. He's quite far off. Yeah, I think he's made a little bit of a mistake in sector 2 there. Leclerc still up on Verstappen's time. Let's see what he finishes up with as he comes across the line. He moves into first at 135.004, almost into the 134s.
I did think we're going to get into the 134s. Max Verstappen even faster out there on circuit now with the 25.458 in the first sector, so even faster. But Carlos Sainz, he's about to finish up his lap. Where does he go now? He crosses the last few corners. He crosses the line, and where does he go? He goes up into second with a 135.3.
Yeah, he lost a bit of time in that second sector. I think he would have been very competitive otherwise. Clearly made it up in that last sector just to stay within touch and distance of his teammate, but still quite far off. 0.29 is the gap.
Max Verstappen is ever so slightly up on, I think, Charles Leclerc at the moment. He's going even faster.
Magnussen, just noting, Magnussen's got purple mini sectors in sector 2. He could be very quick as he finishes up sector 2. Let's see what he does. It's not too far away, I don't think. I think he maybe went a little bit slowly through some parts here. Max Verstappen, though, finishing up his lap. Reece, where does he go?
Max Verstappen crosses the line. Where does he go now? Just waiting for it to come up. He only goes second with a 135.008, ever so slightly behind Charles Leclerc. And that is his lap time done now for the session.
Well, we've got 40 seconds left, but I think, yeah, he might well be...
Hamilton is out there, though, setting the fastest first sector overall. So it could be getting even faster for Lewis Hamilton.
Sorry, just noting, Tsunoda's done very badly in this first sector here. I think this might be trouble for him. He might be in a little bit of trouble here. Let's see what Daniel Ricciardo can do. Daniel Ricciardo has gone all right in the first sector, also gone slower than he would have liked. And we now see some movement here. Hamilton's got the first sector now purple. Let's see what he can do for the remainder of his race here. His second sector is not as quick. Currently looking here, Ricciardo's in 15th, Tsunoda 9th, Bottas 14th, Magnussen 13th. Both Mercedes in the drop zone. Yeah, let's see what happens.
Very interesting, but I think the Mercedes should be able to pull themselves out. Zhou Guanyu ever so slightly staying within track limits there. Where does Russell and Hamilton go now? As George Russell and Lewis Hamilton come through the final sector, Hamilton comes around the final corner. Where does he put himself? He goes, I'm waiting for it, third.
At 135.2. It's still a little bit slower than Leclerc and Verstappen, but not too bad from them. Norris and Piastri, I think they are still on their fast laps potentially. As Russell now crosses the line, where does he move? Russell moves into 9th. It's not that great. He could be in the drop zone here. Ricciardo finishes up his lap.
Does not improve, unfortunately.
Yeah, Ricciardo's, I don't think he's going to improve unless he started his lap late. I don't think he has. So
No.
Ricciardo's dropping out. Bottas is definitely out. We can see that. I think Zhou Guanyu is also out.
Perez is not. Oh, sorry, Perez is
Perez
on a
is
hot
10.
lap, but he is on a hot lap now.
Is he on a hot
He's
lap?
Some purple mini sectors through there as well.
Has he? I'm
Yes.
seeing yellow and yellow and yellow again for Perez. This could be a dangerous game he's playing here.
Sorry, I thought he was going through the first
I
sector
think,
still.
though, we're pretty much done with everybody.
What can Ocon do?
Moves
Ocon
up
goes
into fifth.
fifth.
So
That's
Tsunoda
double.
drops into the drop zone here. Perez is very close to it, but I think we're actually done here. I think everybody's finished their laps. Although Norris comes across the line. Where does he put himself?
Sixth. Oh, sorry, he's still.
No, everybody's coming to the pits. I think we are done. I'm just trying to confirm it. Let's see. Yeah, I think we are done. So we've pretty much got our bottom 5. It is more or less as expected. It's all our smaller names. Tsunoda, Zhou, Bottas, Magnussen, and Ricciardo have all of them dropped out in this session. So that was the
Disappointing on
end.
Ricciardo's return to Formula One, but you have to expect him to be a little bit out of form with his racecraft. But still glad to have him in Formula One again. Yeah, lots of comments giving us your opinions and giving us your insights on what's happening at the moment. Almost 300 of you watching alongside with us. Do be sure to share the stream with your friends and get more people in here as we can get a bigger Formula One community going. Yeah, Cora is saying, what do the colors on the sector times mean? So yellow means it's not being improved. Green means it is a personal best. Purple means it's best overall. Yes, that is about it.
Yeah, so just starting up a new poll here for Q3. Who will start on pole for the race on Sunday, of course? So Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton, and other are your options. Be sure to go and participate in that poll. It's going to be an interesting one here. Going into Q3, the nice thing about Q3, with the exception of Alonso, we've got all of our big name and big teams there. We've got both Ferraris, we've got both Red Bulls, we've got both Mercedes, we've got both McLarens, and we've got both Alpines.
Yes, very interesting session around here in the Circuit of the Americas. I mean, I certainly did not expect to have both Alpines into Q3, but very interesting to see that we do have them up there. Disappointing that we didn't get that Haas into Q3, but still good to have them into Q2.
Indeed. Hello. As I was about to start speaking, I lost my voice. I will take... Hello. Sorry.
Pure Blood saying, no excuse for Danny Rick. Lawson was a rookie and had a higher average finishing position than Yuki Tsunoda. I agree, but to a certain point you have to think he is coming back from an injury. He's going to be out of fitness, whereas Liam Lawson came from peak fitness. He'd been competing in Japanese formula. So, yeah, interesting to see that it's still taking Daniel Ricciardo some time, but hopefully he will hit the ground running soon.
This is such an American thing. We're looking at the big caravan park there in the RV park, and I've never understood how these things work because I never know how they get out because there's almost no space to get out of those zones there. Everybody obviously camping at the track for this weekend. It's quite far away from the main city of Austin, of course, this track. Very much in pretty much, not quite I wouldn't say the wilderness, but certainly far away from any sort of proper civilization.
Well, I think for the noise, you don't necessarily want to be around too many people.
No, but it's just interesting that people do tend to camp out there in Austin, Texas. They go for the full weekend in big RVs and staying in there. So lots of fans have made their way out, lots of Mexican fans. Yeah, Perez was very close to the drop there. Literally 0.018 seconds away from being knocked out of that session. Very lucky to be in Q3.
Yes, TC is asking there if Ryan Reynolds is there this weekend. For
I don't think so.
I don't think so. We would have seen him if he was, as we see a couple of Lewis Hamilton supporters in the grandstands.
Yeah, so we've got Q3 starting in just a bit. Let me just go and prepare that script there for us. So it's going to be think it's 12 minutes, of course. Yeah, it is 12
Okay.
minutes. No, it's 12 minutes times 60, so 720 seconds in total that we will get going for Q3. And I just want to also just...
We're still seeing replays of the Ferraris porpoising quite a bit down the main straight. I wonder if the FIA is going to have to intervene if it gets even worse through this next session.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be something they're going to have to look at. So just also noting that big tower in Austin, Texas got a few fans up there, as I can't remember who it was alluded to earlier. I think it was F123 saying he thought it was a big slide. It does very much look like that.
That's where we had the guy that did the meow noises. It was up
Yes.
there that a microphone was set, and then he found it and decided to give us race fans some extra sound effects for the Grand Prix race.
And I
weekend.
know
I think
that-
that was 2 or 3 years ago now.
Yes, and I note that microphone is no longer there.
Yes, they have moved it away from the general public, which is probably for the best.
Yeah, indeed. So we've got Q3 starting in just a little bit. It will be 12 minutes long. I am correct in that. So it's 18, 15, and 12. So we're just watching here some more analysis, as you say, of that Ferrari. Now, Charles Leclerc was quickest there. Went quicker than Verstappen. Can he top Q3?
Who?
Leclerc.
I think he's got some good pace in him, but I think Max Verstappen, Hamilton, and possibly even Oscar Piastri might have some extra lap time in hand.
Okay, so I'm going to go and give my predictions quickly. My top three, I'm going to say straight off the bat, Leclerc, Hamilton, Verstappen, in that order.
I have to keep with my consistency, as there's a lake here. Wow. They've
fake,
got
though.
a boat. No, it's real. It's got real water.
Does it?
Yes.
Sure.
I saw it glistening there. It's not like Miami. But what was I talking about?
Top three.
Top three, I'm going to stick with my previous prediction and put Lewis Hamilton at the top. Then Max Verstappen P2, maybe Piastri P3.
Piastri P3 is very, very interesting shout, having the McLarens up there. They have been doing quite well, but they just seem to be going a little bit slower in the final couple of sectors compared to the likes of the Red Bull, Mercedes, and the Ferrari. So I'm still backing mine, Leclerc, Hamilton, Verstappen as my top three. Of course, we've got a big, very fancy helmet there of, I think that's Lando Norris, of course.
Yes, for his 100th race.
Yeah.
In Formula 1 this weekend. He's got a whole bunch of stickers adorning his helmet for this race weekend. It looks really quite cool. Of course, celebrating his 100th Grand Prix in Formula 1. Just seeing him leaving the pits now, let's see what he will be able to do in the session. Someone said a little bit earlier that Lando's lost some confidence compared to Oscar Piastri this year. You have to think he has quite a bit in terms of what we've seen in the past.
Yep, so we now have started Q3, the final session for the Circuit of the Americas qualifying. And before, of course, the race on Sunday and the sprint shootout and the sprint tomorrow, which you can catch here on Forever Motorsports. So be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. And if you have not already done so, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, as I already said. Just be sure to go and smash it. Join us. The community is great, as we do now have all the cars leaving here ready for the final session. So 5 constructors in the final 10 cars here. Very interesting. We've got all the teammates here helping each other out. And Max Verstappen, and I think Max Verstappen's leading everybody out into the session as well.
Yes, also do be sure to check out all of our channel partners such as BITDEFENDER and BOYLESPORTS down in the description of the video. Thank you very much to all of our channel partners for joining us. Lots of comments going down there in the comment section at the moment. Thank you very much to Cora for explaining to Josephine Olsen how qualifying works. That's what we want. We want constructive chats down there in the comment section. And if you enjoy chatting to each other, do be sure to check out our Discord server, where we are trying to join or grow our Formula 1 community for this channel. So do be sure to check the links for that in the description as well.
Yeah, so Verstappen's coming into the final sector now before he gets going with his first flying lap. We've got fresh tyres there for Lewis Hamilton as he gets into the pits there for Mercedes. Interesting they've got the fresh tyres on straight away, not right near the end of this session. I would have thought they'd do it near the end. But Max Verstappen's gearing up in the third to final corner here before starting his fast lap. Leclerc follows him, followed by Norris, then Sainz, then Piastri, then the 2 Alpines, and the Mercedes are a little bit late to the party.
Verstappen should be a relatively unimpeded lap, at least. He's got quite a lot of free space ahead of him and quite a lot of gaps in between those traffic cars a bit later in the lap.
Yeah. So Verstappen now starts his hot lap. Leclerc is also going to be starting his. So it's going to be interesting to match the two of them together, as those two were the fastest in Q2. Let's see what they can do now in Q3. Verstappen going through the first sector. Got, of course, all purple, as it would be, as he's the first one to go through that sector. Is Leclerc managing to steal any of them? He is. He is. Look at them. He's stealing all of them. Will he get the third one as well? The third mini sector? No, he doesn't, as now we see some more mini sectors coming from other people, but nonetheless, Verstappen sets a 25.3. That's very quick.
That is
in
very
sector one.
through sector 1. But will Charles Leclerc be able to beat that?
It seems like he's very close to it.
Many sectors through there, as you say, Mark.
Oh no, he's a little bit further away from Max Verstappen for some reason.
0.1-ish, 0.18-ish down on him. Max Verstappen flying though through that middle sector now. That is normally where everyone else is a little bit faster than him, but he has rarely hooked up around out on circuit.
So F123, just going back to that comment, went and said that he reckons that Max Verstappen will finish first, Norris will finish second. I think Norris is 4, isn't he? Yes, and Hamilton will finish third, the number 44. So the 1, the 4, the 44 would be the top 3. So let's see if that will pan out. Max Verstappen now finishes a sector 2 time, 38.32. Of course, it is purple. Leclerc got lots of purple mini sectors. He takes it away. I was about to say, looking at that, a 38.1. That's
Max
very interesting.
Normally isn't as fast through the middle sector, so that's what we would have expected. But the final sectors where he rarely does hook his car up. He's rarely going well around there now with a 135.081. Not as fast as we expected. I would have expected them now
in the 134s.
134s. Can Charles Leclerc
he
be the first driver to break the 134s?
He's going very quickly here is Charles Leclerc. Can he beat Max Verstappen's time? He crosses the line.
He's
now.
going to.
And does he beat it? He does. At 134.8.
Much faster than Max Verstappen.
0.25. So here we go. Charles Leclerc going round very well. As Norris now crosses the line at 135.7. Very slow from Norris, if we're quite frank. Not a great time. As Carlos Sainz now comes around the final corner. He's been doing quite well. Lots of purple mini sectors in his lap as well. Let's see where he crosses the line. And he might go ahead of Verstappen. No, just behind him. A 135.17. So not too bad from him. But they're right near the top there. As Hamilton is also now getting going with his lap, and he's not too far away from the others.
Yes, looking where Norris finishes, he's down in P4, his teammate in P5 behind him. Competitive, but
no, not competitive. 0.8 seconds away from Leclerc, almost a whole second down on the McLarens. Very poor from the McLarens so far. As Ocon now crosses the line, also very poor from him, 1.1 seconds away from Leclerc. I was hoping to see more from Ocon and the Alpines there. Gasly now also going around
faster in the middle sector now, though.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Hamilton was keeping up in that first sector, so let's see what he can do in the final sector now. As we note that he's coming around that big U, of course, on the track, and let's see where he will finish up. Russell, of course,
apex through there is very difficult to get right, but Lewis Hamilton certainly will be hoping he gets it right now. As George Russell's also doing quite well.
Sorry, just noting Gasly did quite well. He's up into 4th there. He's much better than his teammate. As now Hamilton's crossing the line. Where does he finish, Reece?
Hamilton waiting for him to cross the line. He goes into 2nd. He upstages Max Verstappen. But yes, as you say, only just. He is in the 134s at least, joining Charles Leclerc in that club.
Yeah, 0.05 seconds between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton.
Where
and their
does Perez go? Perez goes up into 6th. Not 6th. He drops down now behind Gasly.
Indeed. So Gasly in 5th position, doing very well there. So we got Charles Leclerc, Hamilton, Verstappen, Sainz, Gasly as our top 5. Perez in 6th. The 2 McLarens in 7th and 8th, not going around very well. And Ocon and Russell struggling a little bit there. I think Russell had his lap time deleted. He did have a lap time that was a little bit quicker, but it's been deleted. So he's going to have another attempt at that. We've got just 6 minutes left of the session. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen here. I think the McLarens are looking slow. I'm not backing the McLarens to do very well. Yeah, I think they will finish in the bottom 5 of the top 10.
I wonder what will happen, but we'll have to wait and see now. Possibly they didn't just have the best start to their qualifying, well, the final qualifying session. But Max Verstappen certainly doesn't look like he's too comfortable up there.
No, Max Verstappen might be looking at this a little bit concerned, saying, why on earth was I not quicker? Although, I'm not sure if his tyres were fresh softs or maybe they were used
don't
soft.
Look like it. They look like used.
So maybe that's where he's lost time. Also, looking at a replay here, maybe he made a bit of a mess up into the last corner.
Very, very close.
He's literally moaning at himself. He's not happy about it at all in terms of how he came into that final corner. He lost it a little bit and he's literally just moaning about himself, just saying, well done, well, and done.
No,
well.
Sergio Perez has caused him turbulence.
No.
I promise you, it does have a major difference. You start seeing issues as George Russell's lap time has now been deleted for track limits at turn 9. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just saying we noted that a little bit earlier. So you're just gonna have to go around again. Sergio Perez has gap to Max Verstappen.
No, I wonder if that's new then.
What?
George Russell.
No, George Russell's had his lap time deleted for a while now. So looking now at Gasly, who's in the pits. Perez is now making his way to the pits as well. I think so. Everybody's in the pits right now, so we've got 5 minutes to go, and it's a difficult one to call. I still think Leclerc will probably top the session and Hamilton second. I literally called this. Currently, the top 3 is what I called. I said Leclerc first, Hamilton second, Verstappen third. That's what it is currently. Will we see Verstappen improve upon that? He's quite a way off. Even if he didn't have that little turbulence from Sergio Perez, I'm not sure he would have beaten their times.
I think 0.2 seconds is a lot quicker than you think. It's a split second, and any tiny little mistake can really affect your lap time hugely.
Well, we'll have to see. Look in the comments. Everybody's been going off in the comments during that time. Lindiwe is just saying with regards to, I think there's a whole big discussion happening with regards to Norris and etc.
Talking about his
the mental
mindset.
attitude.
He puts himself down quite a lot in interviews, and that's what people are kind of talking about. Max Verstappen has got a brand new set of tyres out there now, and he's leaving the pits for his last flying lap. Charles Leclerc gets out just ahead of him now. That is going to be mind games.
The Ferraris did that very much deliberately. I think the Ferraris noted and waited for Max Verstappen to get out, and then they said, right, we'll send you at the same time. Just watching where Russell got his lap time deleted. It's at the end of sector 1, actually, as he comes onto the just slightly wide as he comes out of those windy bends there, starting sector 2.
It's actually in the start of sector 2. It's just before that is the marker for sector 1. We're watching him currently in the pits. They're getting his car ready. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left of this session. Yeah, it's going to be very, very smart. TC saying, Mark, you'll win the lottery next week.
No, actually, I didn't. Unfortunately, it's been won already.
But there's another one.
No, but it's so low because somebody did win it. Actually, 2 people won it. So irritating. I was in it to win it, and I didn't win it. But that's because I bought my tickets not today. You see, today I'm on form, so maybe I should go and buy some tickets after this.
Maybe.
Or maybe I'll be lucky and I'll go bet with BOYLESPORTS. Of course, you go check them out. One of our partners. What a swag where that was, hey? Yeah, so go and check out BOYLESPORTS as well. Maybe you guys can go and bet on F1 as well. And join Chris every week now. Chris is doing an F1 segment in his betting for the weekend. And he talks about what you can do with regards to trying to make money out of Formula 1 in each weekend. He's brilliant, Chris, about all the betting on the show. So be sure to go and go find that out. Yeah, I mean, it's sure betting with Max Verstappen. I think he does multi-bets with Max Verstappen winning, of course, which is quite a decent one to have a look at. But yes, go and have a look at that. So we've got 2 minutes left for this session. And we're going to follow here, everybody, as they start their fast laps. It's interesting. Leclerc has gone far away from Max Verstappen. He's bolted to the front. They're trying to get a decent lap.
Probably let him go and given himself a bit of a gap.
But I mean, Verstappen's already behind Norris and Sainz as well.
Yeah.
So it's very far back there. Leclerc's made his way past everybody, starting his hot lap. And yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see. As we've got just 1 minute and 30 seconds left. So this is going to be everybody's last attempt.
I think because he's realised if he backs up to a certain point, he's being told by his team, if he backs up to a certain point, then he should be safe in terms of traffic because the drivers in front of him are on the same
fast lap
as him.
Well, let's see. I think Leclerc shouldn't be held up by anybody either. Maybe right towards the end of his attempt, seeing those 2 Mercedes at the end of the grid there, coming out of sector 1. Maybe that's going to be a small problem for Leclerc. Yeah, he is going to catch them definitely. So Leclerc will have a little bit of traffic. Whereas Verstappen, I think, yeah, they've timed it well where he might not get in traffic. So that's what they're banking on of the Red Bulls. Is Leclerc has finished up sector 1. It's not purple. It's only a personal best, but it's not purple. So that's the first thing that we have to note. Sainz now finishes up sector 1. What does he do? He's also slow, and so is Max Verstappen out of sector 1. So not looking good for all 3 drivers in terms of trying to improve on them.
A lock-up for Verstappen in turn 1 there, Mark.
Yeah, so not good from Verstappen. Not a good start for him. So not looking good to try and beat Leclerc's time. Can he make up time in the middle sector? He is getting personal best, so maybe he's going to have to try and do it. As Leclerc also in that second sector has got a personal best, but not purple.
Sainz is slightly purple in one of the mini sectors in the middle. But if you're Charles Leclerc, you have to ask yourself, this is your best opportunity of getting a pole position this season.
Yeah.
You have to take it. So what can Max Verstappen now do in the middle sector?
Sorry, Leclerc now crossing the line in at the end of sector 3. Will he improve upon time? He must surely do. He does. a 134.7 now. So he's improved it by 0.1 seconds. So will that be enough? I don't know. Let's see if that's going to be enough at all.
Norris puts himself up into P2 now with a 134.8. Lando Norris now joins the party. Where does Max Verstappen go? He comes round the final second.
Sainz first, though. Sainz moves into 4th. So that's not brilliant for him as Verstappen now comes around that corner, as Reece says. Where did he go, Reece?
Max Verstappen now crosses the line. He goes up into first with a 134.7.
So
It is
close.
so close, though. But where can the Mercedes go? What is Hamilton doing out on track? Hamilton's going faster through the middle sector, Mark.
Yeah, Hamilton is going quite quickly in the middle sector here, so let's see what he can do. But Max Verstappen beats Leclerc.
He's gone wide. Max Verstappen's gone wide in the final corner.
He's already finished his lap up, of course. So Max Verstappen, a 134.7. It's 0.005 seconds quicker than Leclerc. So quick. And so close.
Will his lap time be deleted?
Possibly. That could be very interesting. It's going to be lots of drama right at the end. You do not go anywhere. As Hamilton's also finishing up his lap. He's got lots of personal bests, but I don't see purple. Yes, he has. It's been deleted. Verstappen's time has been deleted.
For the race on Sunday.
Oh my word.
Start in 5th.
Wait, Russell still has to finish up his lap. So where does he finish? As Perez now crosses the line. What does Perez do right at the end of Q3 here? Does he move ahead of anybody? He's all the way down 9th. He only goes into 8th. Terrible from him. Piastri's not had a great lap time either. He's all the way down in 9th. Russell now crosses the line. Well, he's about to cross the line. Hamilton moves into 3rd. Unless he already did so. No, he was already there. Russell, where does he go? He just improves upon his time, Hamilton. That's all that happens. Russell, where does he move? Can he go ahead of Verstappen? He does.
He does.
Into 5th.
So that makes Verstappen's race start on Sunday even more difficult, starting from 6th. Could he be the first driver to win outside the top 2 here at the Circuit of the Americas?
It's going to be very interesting to watch. And of course, a very interesting qualifying session once again. Leclerc starts on pole. Norris in 2nd. Hamilton 3rd. Sainz 4th. Russell 5th. Verstappen all the way down in 6th. The 2 Alpines in 7th and 8th. Piastri and Perez having a shocker in 9th and 10th. Not great from those two. But what a qualifying session we've just had, ladies and gentlemen. And Ferrari are on pole.
Max Verstappen is going to be kicking himself for sure at the fact that he has unfortunately had his lap time deleted. It is finally, though, Ferrari's day with Charles Leclerc taking pole. We're going to move across into our review quite shortly, but really happy for Charles Leclerc. Max Verstappen, though, is going to be absolutely livid. Lindy, we're very excited for Charles Leclerc, who has taken pole here today, as TC says Max must be swearing non-stop. Just rewatching this incident for Max Verstappen in the second to last corner, he gets ever so slightly over the track limits there, and unfortunately, rules are rules, and his lap time gets deducted.
Yeah, it's actually not even that slight. If I'm honest, it's not even that slight. It's quite well over the lines. It's very easily noted, and you can't have any complaints. Well over the lines there. Unfortunately for Max Verstappen, he's just pushing it a little bit too much. And Charles Leclerc, and that, I must say, a horrid green helmet, I'm sorry, I hate it, has gone into pole position. Maybe that's what he must do, wear some really weird helmets. And that will result in getting pole position. But nonetheless, we're going to switch across to our studio now. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Forever Motorsports. You're joined by myself, Mark and Reece, and we've just finished qualifying. And the big news of the day is the fact that Frederic Vasseur is so happy with his drivers. Leclerc finishes in pole position for Sunday's race here in the Circuit of the Americas. Sainz finishes in 4th for his team as well. And also big news, Verstappen having his lap time deleted right at the end there, having gone quickest, then gets his lap time deleted and moves all the way down to 6th. Reece, what a qualifying we just had.
Yes, what a qualifying, and certainly that does bode quite well for the race on Sunday. It's going to be very interesting with Max Verstappen starting out of sync all the way down there in P6, but making our way through the top 10. First of all, of course, Charles Leclerc taking pole there. Then with Lando Norris up in P2, Lewis Hamilton P3, Carlos Sainz P4, a mixed up start to the front 2 rows of the grid. Really going to be quite an exciting race start. Interesting. It's going to be the first word that comes to mind for me. And then going through the rest of the top 10, George Russell in P5, then of course Max Verstappen in P6 with that deleted lap time. Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon having a great day for the Alpine team, finishing in 7th and 8th. Then we have Sergio Perez once again not having a stellar race weekend, starting all the way down in P9 in, well, ending that qualifying session there. Then finishing off our top 10, one of the drivers who I expected to do a little bit better, Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, it's exactly one of the drivers I said. I was worried about him in Q2. I said, I'm not so sure Piastri is showing enough for me. And indeed, he didn't. In Q3, he's finished all the way down in 10th, rounding off our final driver in Q3, of course. But just going back to Q1 now, of course, the 5 drivers we lost in Q1, going from 20th up to 11th. Let's just do that quickly. Sargent in 20th at his home Grand Prix. Once again, not good enough. Although Williams could not find pace, and neither could Aston Martin. Stroll 19th, Albon in 18th, and Alonso 17th, with Nico Hulkenberg surprisingly down in 16th as well for Haas. And they were looking relatively quick for this weekend, but not able to do so. Yeah, really poor showing from those Aston Martins and the Williams. We were expecting a little bit more from them, but they were out in Q1 quite easily there. Hulkenberg, of course, the other driver there in 16th, and again, we expect him to beat Magnussen usually, and does not do so. But in Q2, we then lost Ricciardo, Magnussen, Bottas, Zhou, and Tsunoda. Pretty much those are the ones that we do expect to lose in Q2. So not too many surprises there. So just again, rounding off that bottom 10. 11th, Tsunoda. 12th, Zhou. 13th, Bottas. 14th, Magnussen. 15th, Ricciardo. 16th, Hulkenberg. 17th, Alonso. 18th, Albon. 19th, Stroll. And 20th, Sargent.
Yes, and it's going to certainly be an interesting race on Sunday. I think it's going to be quite exciting. So do be sure to join us here on Forever Motorsports. And, of course, go and check out all of our channel partners down in the description of our video. But, yeah.
Did you expect this from Lando Norris to come into second position? Of course, everybody during the stream was talking about his mentality, and he's been dropping off a little bit. But now he's starting at the front of the grid alongside Leclerc, another person we also talk about with mentality. So the two of them starting alongside each other could be making for a very interesting race.
Yes, I'm certainly quite excited for the start. As I said already, with a mixed up top 4 drivers here, it's going to be very exciting. I'm excited for the sprint shootout tomorrow afternoon, as well as the sprint race. Of course, tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be an exciting race weekend, a jam-packed weekend, full of action for all of you guys. So do be sure to watch and be sure to check all of our channel videos for all the upcoming live streams that we have for you guys.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about our top 3. Who do you reckon, based off of this grid that's starting on Sunday, who will be your top 3?
That are going to finish in the top 3?
Yes.
I'm going to say Charles Leclerc should be able to take the win around here, if he's able to get a good race start. Lando Norris should be able to hold on for second, but what can Max Verstappen do? I'm going to say Leclerc, Norris, Verstappen.
Leclerc, Norris, Verstappen. So you're basically saying Hamilton's dropping off. Hamilton's been looking quite good today. I'm gonna back Leclerc to win, Hamilton in second.
I think Norris is going to have better race pace because they've had
a lot. I suppose it is a good point.
You
know what? I'm going to throw something else completely there, and I'm going to have a new...
And it's Lando Norris' 100th race, as Anchi Manchi says.
I know. This is what I'm saying. Lando Norris to get his first ever win at his 100th race in Formula 1 here, starting in second position, right behind Leclerc. They've had lots of race simulations. It should be good enough for them. I reckon Lando Norris wins the Circuit of the Americas. Leclerc in second and Hamilton in third. And I don't think Verstappen makes the top 3. That's my prediction. Very bold. Probably stupid, but that's my bold prediction. And it could be insane if that does actually happen.
Well, certainly going to have to see what happens on Sunday when it all does count. But thank you very much for joining us here on Forever Motorsports. I've been Reece, and I've been joined here by Mark.